says Congress needs more information and to be more involved in the attacks. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. More U.S. forces are heading to the Middle East as tensions with the country rise. More from ABC News Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce in Washington.
The president has insisted Iran posed an imminent threat to the U.S., but American intelligence agencies say Iran would not have had missiles capable of reaching the U.S. for another 9 years. The president is dismissing concerns that he will tire of this fight if it drags on beyond the 4 to 5 weeks that he's projected.
Somebody said today, they said, oh, well, if the president wants to do it really quickly. After that, he'll get bored. I don't get bored.
Moments later, though, Trump distracted by the White House decor.
I picked those drapes in my first term. I always like gold.
Americans are now encouraged to leave the region. Your money at this moment, the Dow's down over 1,000 points, 1,094, down to 47,809. Coming up, we still have huge delays going north from Roy towards Ogden because of a fatal crash on the freeway. Traffic's coming up next. KSL News Time, 9:01.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. I've recently seen two just delightful plays at Hale Center Theater. One is called Peter Pan Goes Wrong. When a local drama company stages Peter Pan, the stalwart thespians and crew face about any disaster or mishap that you can imagine, and their distress and their consternation fuels our delight and laughter. This is so much fun, and I challenge you not to laugh. And plus, my favorite radio station even gets a nod in this ill-fated production. And then, on the brand new Beehive stage, two local playwrights, Fox and Dietline, have a brand new musical, Hallmarked. It includes tidbits of every Hallmark movie plot you have ever seen. A young woman heads to Vermont to save a floundering reality cooking show, but she's determined not to be Hallmarked. You're going to love the play. You're going to love the music. Get your tickets at hct.org. Don't forget, Hunchback of Notre Dame coming up on March 9th.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
This is Andy Farnsworth with One Kind Act a Day's Minute of Kindness, brought to you by the Semnani Family Foundation. Ashley Roop, the founder of Come As You Are, has had enough of pretending she's fine. There have been many negative things in the news as of late. Due to this, Roop created an online group, later turned in person, to give people the chance to share what's on their minds. People are encouraged to come as you are and talk about their day-to-day lives, and also share some of the good that's going around. The group has turned into a haven to spread kindness and good, even in a time of negativity. During the first meeting, people sat together and meditated and shared stories. How can you continue to spread kindness in times needed? Find out more at thepowerofkind.org. That's thepowerofkind.org.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Here's an update with Cormac Bone.
Northbound I-15 still heavy and slow from just after 650 North Clearfield up to Riverdale Road now. We are seeing those volumes decrease, and it looks like they may have opened up a lane, but maybe not. Still down to 2 lanes as you pass the crash that they're working on in Riverdale on the northbound I-15. And in Utah County, we have the slowdowns northbound I-15 from University Avenue now up past Center Street, where we did have a crash. Those delays are now residual. where we do have a new crash. This is northbound Redwood Road just before you get to Bangerter Highway in Bluffdale. Heavy delays as they are blocking the right shoulder. When you need the financial products and services for every stage of life, Cyprus Credit Union is there for whatever the future holds. Visit cypruscu.com today. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather forecast today will be mostly cloudy. The rain shower should finish up this morning. Expect highs in the 50s. Tomorrow, it'll be even warmer with sun out and highs in the 60s. Right now, it is cloudy and 41 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Eye on the Hill 2026. Special coverage on Inside Sources.
Well, today is day 42 of the 45-day legislative session, which means including today, Holly, there are only 4 days left. And you told me this morning that a lot of things happen around this time. And one thing you said that I didn't know that I understood, which was it's the last day for the House to vote on House bills, the House and the Senate to vote on Senate bills.
Yep,
Did I understand that right?
Yeah, so each body in a bicameral legislature, which we have, a House and a Senate, has to pass the bill. And so the House bills at this point will be going through their final discussion really on the House floor today. So they're going to stay today as long as it takes. So they will start off the day by dealing with bills on the full floor, both House and Senate, and then they'll have committee meetings. The final committee meetings will be this afternoon, and then starting at 6 o'clock tonight, they'll be back on the floor, and they'll go as late as needed to get through their bills. And then starting tomorrow, the House will be talking about Senate bills on the floor and vice versa.
And that reminds me of something else you mentioned, which is today's the last day for committee meetings.
Yeah, that's right. And there are committee meetings in the afternoon. There's a set that starts at 2 and another set that starts at 4. And then that's it for committee meetings, unless there's something really unusual that pops up here at the very end where they start a new bill, which seems unlikely having 1,014 bills already drafted.
We breached the 1,000 bill marker a couple days ago. We're probably getting a pretty good idea, aren't we, about bills that just aren't going to go in much
Yeah,
further.
there are some bills that are pretty dead. And, it's kind of like the movie The Princess Bride. I'm not dead, just almost dead. Whatever that quote was. So nothing is ever officially dead or officially passed until the legislature officially adjourns on Friday at midnight or around midnight. It's sine die. It's actually Latin, pronounced sine die, but nobody ever says that. They all say sine die. But until then, there is a possibility that bills can be resurrected from the dead. But we are starting to hear more and more about bills that are not moving forward. So one of those bills that's interesting, and we've talked about this on the show, is the Secretary of State bill, changing the person who would oversee elections. That bill died in committee yesterday and was voted down, I think, 6-1 maybe. There was one person who didn't want to kill the bill, but everybody else is like, this bill is unnecessary. It creates an added layer of bureaucracy. And in fact, Senator Mike McKell stood up and basically said, this bill is trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist. Our lieutenant governor has been doing a, quote, damn fine job.
Good for McKell.
Yeah.
Because you know what? We talked about that very issue right here on this show. And I think we both agreed that in terms of election integrity, at least since I've been working with KSL for the last 10 years, we've done a really good job in Utah.
Yeah, we really have. And there's no way to get to a 0% error rate, but what we have is really, really good. So that bill died yesterday. Another bill that was a surprise to people was a bill that was a kind of a broader transportation bill, but it also included the decrease to the gas tax, the state gas tax. That bill was also killed in committee yesterday. That bill could be resurrected because especially the gas tax, that was a really important issue for the Speaker of the House. So that bill may come back. We'll see.
I thought it was a fairly modest decrease in the gas tax.
But it's part of a bigger package is my point. And so they've kind of tabled the whole thing, or not tabled it, but they've put it on hold. So that bill could come back. One of the bills that I thought was interesting that is apparently dead. It's not technically dead. It's one of the bills that's circled, and it is the AI transparency bill from Representative Fiafia. So even as I got off the highway today on 600 South, there's a billboard as you get off the off-ramp that says, something like 90% of Utahns support this bill. Well, that bill has been circled since the beginning of February.
Circled.
Meaning it passed out of committee, it got to the House floor, and then they said it's basically the timeout place, right, where bills go to sit in timeout. We've talked about this where they're circled. So, but it's been circled there for almost a month, which to me says it's dead. Plus, we've seen plenty of reporting that the White House has put a lot of pressure on
Right.
Utah.
I was going to ask you about that. There may be some notion with the legislature that, hey, wait a minute, this may run sideways with what they're doing federally. We should maybe put a hold on this before we get too far along.
Well, I don't know that it runs sideways. It's just that the administration doesn't want the states to be creating any kind of guardrails really on these AI companies. The federal government wants to be in charge of AI regulation, and that's been an issue for states, especially when you're really pro states' rights. But in any case, that bill, it technically could be lifted and discussed, but it seems unlikely.
So where do you think there's going to be an emphasis, if at all, or is it just across the board with respect to bills within the next couple days? I thought that most bills dealing with budget or money we had dealt with, so I was surprised about the gas tax bill, and maybe that's a little bit different.
So the final bill is still not passed, but they have a good idea about what they want to do. And where they want to see the budget go. So we're going to talk about this a little bit later, I think. But there's homelessness the homeless issue is going to be getting an infusion of cash, but it comes with a few strings, including the local municipalities have to come up with stuff. But those are, again, proposals, and we won't see the final vote on the budget until we get a little bit closer.
And I think one other thing that you mentioned, or someone did, was that from this day on, the legislature is likely to stay a little after normal business hours.
Sometimes on the Thursday, the day before the last day, they'll go home at like 6 o'clock because they know the next day they're staying until midnight. So there was one year where the legislature, the House and the Senate, kind of got a little bit into a little bit of a fight. And I can't even remember what the bills were that were in question. But one body said, I'm not going to pass your bills. And the other body said, okay, fine, we're adjourning. And they adjourned like 3 hours early.
There you go. So are some of the bills, like the bill number 1008, some sort of symbolic at this point?
Yeah,
like, hey,
they are.
This is something we want to consider. Maybe next year it'll be
Yeah.
up the line a little bit further and be more.
Maybe.
Yeah.
They are symbolic. They are. So it is interesting, though. Do you know we've talked about the 3-judge panel, and we only have a few seconds left. I know.
Constitutional Court?
Yeah, the Constitutional Court. But remember, one of the complaints has been it only allows the state to send cases there. Well, there's a new version of that bill, actually, that would change it to allow any party to request that it go to the court. So I don't know if that'll make people happier or not.
An amendment to a bill that's already passed? I thought we'd signed that bill.
No, we haven't signed it.
Okay.
Because
the 3-judge...
It's a joint resolution amending the rules. And so, yes,
okay.
The governor signed it. The attorney general sent 4 cases there, and now there's something else that say, hey, let's tweak it a little bit. They're still in the middle of the session.
Yeah, because I thought even the 3-judge panel had been selected.
Yeah, it has. So, but there is a tweak to it that's coming, and it will probably pass. All right, well, we're going to pivot off of Utah's Capitol Hill, and we're going to go talk about Iran. But one of the things that's interesting is we've had a Utah congressman who's saying he supports the president's actions, but he wants clarification on the end goal. So we're going to talk about what that might mean when we come back.
This is Jeff Stout with Fink and McGregor, Mortgages Made Simple. Let's talk conventional versus FHA loans. Both offer cash-out refinances up to 80% loan-to-value or LTV, so which is best for you? It's kind of like Uber and Lyft. I always compare the two before booking a ride. Conventional loans don't have mortgage insurance under 80% LTV. However, the rates and costs get higher with lower credit scores, cash-out, and high LTVs. FHA loans always have mortgage insurance, but the rates are lower, they don't penalize you for cash out and high LTV loans, and they allow for higher debt to income ratios. FHA often results in lower payment even with mortgage insurance. We can analyze your situation within minutes. Call us today. Fink and McGregor, Mortgage is Made Simple. 801-264-9494. That's 264-9494. Or on the web at finkmcgregor.com. NMLS 289115.
I'm Christian Staples with Arctic Spas. This weekend is the biggest home show of the year, and Arctic Spas will be there with our biggest demonstration of Arctic Spa hot tubs, swim spas, all-weather pools, cold tubs, and saunas. We'll be introducing our new Polar Bear, the biggest swim spa we have ever made. It comes in at 18 feet long, giving you more room for your family fun or swimming. If you're looking for something big, this is the big weekend to find it at the Mountain America Expo Center. With a new Arctic Spa, we are giving away 100% water care automation for free, saving you $4,000. You can get our automatic natural saltwater system and automatic pH control for free. Home shows are awesome to see lots of options all under one roof and to find the best deals for you, saving you time and money. Check out our home show specials and the new Polar Bear on our website at arcticspasutah.com or stop by one of our 3 stores covering all of Utah in Salt Lake, American Fork, and St. George. Arctic Spa, the only spa built for Utah's harsh climate.
You may not think about Great Salt Lake, but it's affecting your life every day. It brings lake effect snow and epic powder days. It supports thousands of jobs that keep Utah thriving. It provides a haven for millions of birds. And it keeps our air cleaner and our summers cooler. It also could affect your home's value, your kids' asthma, your morning run, your powder days, your future. Without a healthy lake, we face toxic dust storms full of mercury and arsenic, along with higher health costs, fewer jobs, and lower home values. This isn't just an environmental issue, it's personal. The lake affects you. Now, it's your turn to affect the lake, because our lives depend on our lake. Act now at growgsl.org.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
And so did you.
When you raised your hand and swore an oath to your country, when you put your name on a dotted line, you became part of only 1% of Americans who did the same. You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran. Because no matter when, where, or how you served, you made a sacrifice for your country, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Reach out to a loved one, to a fellow veteran, to VA.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Every day here in Utah, people turn to KSL News Radio for one simple reason: trust. Trust for our reporters, hosts, our coverage, and trust in the businesses heard right here. I've met so many of our listeners over the years, and they'll tell you KSL is part of their daily routine, in the car, at work, at home. And when they hear your business here, it carries the weight of that trust. It isn't just another ad. It's a recommendation coming from a reliable source. When you advertise on KSL News Radio, you reach a loyal, highly engaged audience who listens intentionally. They show up for breaking news, accurate information, and meaningful conversations. And because of that connection, they respond. And when you pair our on-air credibility with digital tools like display advertising, social media, streaming audio, search, geo-targeting, and retargeting, you get a full funnel strategy that works and reaches the right people at the right time. Get marketing that truly moves the needle. Partner with the voice Utah trusts. KSL. Learn more at kslnewsradio.com/advertise.
Inside Sources.
Well, rockets and missiles continue to fly across the Middle East, with now at least 3 countries being impacted by this conflict. ABC News chief foreign correspondent Ian Pennell reports from Tel Aviv, and I will indicate that this soundbite has a lot of explosions.
Explosions rocking Tehran and sites across the Middle East. The Natanz nuclear facility damaged in a strike, but the UN nuclear watchdog saying there's no radiological consequence. It comes as the American death toll's rising. The Pentagon now confirming 6 troops killed in an Iranian strike on a tactical operations center in Kuwait.
So one of the things, too, that we have learned since yesterday, our show yesterday, is the president is not ruling out sending boots on the ground into Iran. And we know that there are more U.S. forces heading there, and Americans are urged to leave the region. One of the things that for me is just a little bit difficult here is that there are multiple countries now where Americans are being told, get on a commercial flight and get out. But the airports are shut down right now, and planes are not flying, at least in many of the areas, because of the threats right now.
You would think a lot of those people would have had some notice even before now to get out of those countries. But, of course, at first it was Israel and Iran, and now it's the neighboring countries where people are saying...
Yeah, there's quite a few.
Embassies and others, yeah,
11. There's quite a few.
You know, and with respect to boots on the ground, I know it's easy to say, boy, airstrikes are sort of the safest way that keeps most people out of harm. But most of the military experts that we've talked to and I've read about in the last couple of days say you've got to get inside. You've got to get some people on the ground, which is what I think a lot of Americans, and we're going to talk about that right now, are really concerned about. Like, what's our end game, and
right.
what is our level of involvement going to be?
Exactly. And you know, one of the questions, of course, is why now and why war now? So we know that the Utah congressional delegation, almost all of them, have issued some sort of statement. And Representative Mike Kennedy, who's my representative, by the way, shared his thoughts on the strikes in Iran on Utah's Morning News. He brought up questions about the timing of the strikes as well.
The question around the world is who's rising to the support of Iran? And the answer is even their allies, China and Russia, are not doing anything to help them at this point, reflecting the fact that this has been a rogue regime, just like North Korea. These people don't want peace. They want war. They want death to America and death to Israel. And in those cases, we need to deal with these things before it becomes worse, which is what I believe the Trump administration is doing. But I need more information. I believe my citizens, the Utahns that I know and trust, they need more information. And the United States of America, our citizens, all of us need more information about why this action needed to be taken now. But I'm withholding formal judgment. I believe that this is a good step. But this afternoon when I get my secure briefing, absolutely, I'll be asking questions and looking for answers as to why we had to do this now versus any other time.
Interesting. The question he has is why now, not necessarily why, or that he's not in support of it, but like what was the timing of this? And he said something else that I think has been reiterated by a lot of our Republican and Democratic legislators, which is doesn't seem to be anybody rallying to the support of Iran right now. Other countries in the region, China, Russia, although Russia has condemned the acts and the United Nations has condemned the acts, people aren't rushing to Iran's aid militarily or any other way that I've seen so far.
Yeah, and you know, he has an interesting question, and I heard ABC's Stephen Portnoy this morning talking to the Morning News Show, explaining what U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said about the need to strike right now.
Yesterday in that closed-door briefing for the Gang of Eight, the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, said this. He said that the U.S. had to act because it knew that Israel was planning to strike. Of course, the U.S. knew that Israel was planning to strike. The U.S. and Israel have been working together on this for months, coordinating on the target locations and the timing. Well, Rubio says that if Israel were to go ahead and do it, that would have prompted an immediate Iranian response that would have been threatening to the United States. And so, to get ahead of that, the U.S. would preemptively go after Iran in coordination with Israel because if it hadn't, quote, we would suffer higher casualties.
A little bit of a circular argument. Why get involved? Well, because Israel's going to, yes, so what? Well, if they get involved and we're not involved, we're going to get brought into it by Iran anyway, so maybe jump in on the front end.
Yeah, and even Portnoy said that. He goes, it is a little bit of a circular argument. It's interesting. I think one of the things that will also be discussed, and we'll be talking about this in our next segment, is the legal justification. And people are now talking about the War Powers Act, right? So that's a constitutional thing, but there's actually a resolution. So in the Constitution, it says that the president has basically, he's the commander-in-chief for the military, all branches of the military. And it also says that Congress is the one to declare war. Well, where we've been stuck as a nation is we don't really declare war anymore, right? and it was the early 70s, 1973, there was a War Powers resolution that said, okay, Mr. President, and this was specific to Vietnam at the time, but okay, Mr. President, if there's an imminent threat to the United States, you can go ahead and order action, but you have to come to Congress within 48 hours. We have to be able to give approval on your actions, or you have to withdraw. The reality is no president has ever withdrawn. Right. In fact, every president since the mid-'70s has said, well, this is too restrictive on what I need to be able to do.
Right. And so that's sort of been the argument. Well, wait a minute, that no one else has been held to that standard. And Congress is jumping in going, hey, wait a minute. We'll talk about this, like you said, after the break. We have the right to declare war. Well, when does an intervention constitute a war, and do you have to declare war before you get Congress involved?
Right, and and one of the things too to note is that even if there were the votes in the House and the Senate to pass something that says, okay, we are saying we're done, now withdraw the troops, unless it's a veto-proof majority in both bodies, the president's just going to veto it, and they don't have the votes.
Right. Well, and another thing is that when we talked with Representative Kennedy spoke with us this morning, he talked about why now, why are we getting started now, but also secondarily, where does it end?
Yeah.
And what does the end look like?
That's right.
And our reporter Adam Small did ask Representative Kennedy about what the endpoints for this conflict are with Iran.
So the clear endpoints are very clear to me, and that is, and I think they're clear to the American people, no nuclear weapons. The Iranian regime is a rogue regime that can't be trusted with the responsibility of nuclear weapons. So number one, and President Trump executed that last summer, and this is a follow-up on that. Number one, no nuclear weapons. Number two, the ballistic missiles that Iran's capacity has developed can, by reports that I'm getting, and I'll get more information as we get our secure briefing this afternoon, but reportedly they can reach the shores of the American people, and that is unacceptable. We need to destroy their ability to make these ballistic weapons, these missiles that they're developing, to bring those nuclear weapons to the American people in terrible fashion. So those are the two endpoints that I see as vital. And then absolutely, I grew up in the phase of the Afghanistan war, the Iraqi war, Saddam Hussein, and saw what failure nation building was. I'm not invested as a congressman in seeing forever wars or seeing us brought into nation building in countries that are very different from us and don't have any interest in becoming like United States of America. So we need to make sure that the American people are safe. We need to make sure also that the Trump administration and Congress are focused on the needs of the American people. That's the American economy. People can have inflation under control, that they can actually be safe in their homes and their cities. But when it comes to ballistic missiles that could come to the American shores, as well as nuclear weapons in the hands of a rogue nation, we as American citizens can't accept that. So those are the two endpoints that I'm looking for.
So one of the things to me is, like, what does that actually mean? Like, how are you going to verify that? Because I thought we obliterated, right, their nuclear capability in the fall. But one of the things that's interesting to note as well is former Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld suggested in 2002 that if we went into Iraq, which we did, that we would be there 5 days, 5 weeks, or 5 months, but it would not become a long war. Well, here we know how that turned out, right? And so when we're hearing it could be 4 or 5 weeks, but could go much longer and could include boots on the ground, I think that's where it gives me some heartburn. How do you define forever war, Representative Kennedy, right? And how do you know that we're not actually getting into one?
Yeah, well, and this is going to be prolonged, but we'll see how long it goes and what other nations weigh in. And speaking of weighing in, I have to ask this question. Did the U.S. have the legal rationale, the legal authority to conduct these strikes? We'll break it down with an expert on national security issues when we come back.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. A major transportation bill has hit a roadblock on Utah's Capitol Hill. It would have stopped Salt Lake City leaders from doing construction projects on major roads and give UDOT more say in future projects. But it also would have required tow truck drivers to enter vehicle information into a third-party database. Experts told a House committee the company over that database can retain and sell people's information with little to no oversight.
We don't want to be compelled by state statute to break federal statute in reporting personal information.
That's Neil Schultz, president of the Ogden Weber Towing Association. The bill isn't dead yet. Lawmakers told KSL after the hearing they expect to vote on the bill again before the end of the legislative session on Friday. Utah could soon have more options for childcare. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
Rural Utah is considered a childcare desert. So Senator Luz Escamilla is proposing a bill that would allow unlicensed daycares to have 10 children instead of 8. Those caretakers could then apply for a $5,000 grant, but it does come with a stipulation: to be fingerprinted, clear a background check, and be CPR certified. Critics say that's not enough, and there should be more inspections to make sure the children are in a safe and healthy environment. Escamilla says the bill would allow Utahns to take part in a business model we love, where moms can watch their kids, make some extra money, and open their home to others. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Trump will welcome the Chancellor of Germany to the White House today. The two will also host a bilateral meeting. It's Friedrich Merz' first public remarks since the Iranian strikes. Your money at this moment, the Dow down 861 points, a slight recovery over what it's been over the last hour, down to 48,038. Coming up, we've got rainy conditions continuing throughout today before things dry out and warm up. Traffic and weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM. Andy, I like that shirt. Is that a new shirt?
It is. It's from Ann Collar, and it's really rare to find a shirt that looks good and is super comfortable. And this is a fabric unlike anything I've ever felt.
I got one for my husband and my sons, and watching my 19-year-old put on the Ann Collar shirt and sort of check himself out in the mirror, I thought, wow, he's really digging that. And I can understand why, because it's not just comfortable, it's stain repellent, which I needed.
Oh, my goodness.
Because,
That is something.
He attracts spaghetti sauce to shirts like you would not believe. And with these Ann Collar shirts, I can get it out.
Amanda, I have to wear a special bib when I eat spaghetti with a white shirt on. But with Ann Collar shirts, it takes those little tiny nicks and stains, and they don't stick to you. Yeah, you don't have to dump a bucket of stuff on you, but it would repel that too.
You've got to try one. So whether it's the traditional white shirt or any of the patterns they have, it's Ann Collar, and they're made right here in Utah.
If you've never tried Ann Collar before, we have got permission to give you 15% off at andcollar.com and go get your first. Use the code KSL15.
That's Ann Collar, ANDcollar.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
The company you work for just froze your pension. Now what? Should you take the lump sum or monthly payments? What happens to your spouse if something happens to you? And how does this impact your Social Security benefits? If you're like most people, you have more questions than answers. But here's the bigger problem right now. If you make a wrong decision here, it could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars in retirement. That's why you need to know all of your options so you can make the right decision for you and your family. Boss Retirement Solutions, right here in Utah, offers a free, comprehensive pension review for individuals with $300,000 or more in retirement savings. Call 801-896-9622 for your free analysis now. That's 801-896-9622. 801-896-9622.
Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors, an SEC registered investment advisor. Insurance products and services offered through Boss Retirement Solutions.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Direct deposit gets you $300. Love where you bank. Here's Cormac Bone.
Well, the good news is northbound I-15 from Davis into Weber County, pretty much all cleared out, maybe a little slow as you approach 5600 South in Roy, but that crash that we had affecting traffic all morning is now clean, and the delays have died out. We do have a new crash, though, in Davis County. This is eastbound SR 193 at Industrial Parkway. Looks like they're blocking multiple lanes. Traffic only getting through on one lane there, and you've got multiple emergency vehicles in the median, so just be careful, drive slow, give them the space as you get around them. Southbound I-15, a touch of slowing from 13th South down to nearly 21st South in Salt Lake County. Performance Automotive in Bountiful, endless possibilities with 3 locations: Performance Ford Lincoln, Performance Honda, and Performance Toyota, where excellence is standard. Start your search at performancebountiful.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather today will be mostly cloudy. The rain showers should finish up this morning. Expect highs in the 50s. Tomorrow will be warmer with the sun out and highs in the 60s. Right now it's 43 degrees and mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
I guess it's just the lawyer in me that asks, hey, did we have the legal authority or justification to conduct these strikes? I mean, and I guess not to be too much of a cynic, does it matter? I mean,
I mean, it's done now, right?
Did the administration have the legal authority to impose tariffs? Well, the Supreme Court has looked back and said, maybe not. What do we do about this? And we have both American law. We talked about the Constitution and the War Powers Act, but we also have the UN Charter. And so it also may depend on what our goal was. Were we in there for a regime change? Is it self-defense because we think something's going on? I mean, there's so many things that you have to weigh and look at. Well, was it justified under some body of law?
And if we take out the leader of a country, can we do that in multiple places? I mean, those are questions I have too. So we have with us a guest who is an associate professor and founding director of the Center for National Security Studies at UVU, and it's Ryan Vogel. Thanks for joining us today, Ryan.
Happy to be here.
What kind of legal issues come up with the strikes that we just saw in Iran?
Yeah, you guys are right on track. Everything that you were just mentioning are some of the legal issues that we look at. And really, the way that you bifurcated that, I think, is right. There's the U.S. law response. Was this legal under U.S. constitutional law? And then there's the international law response, which is under the UN Charter and other international law, the law of armed conflict. Was this a legal strike? And, one thing that I think you're seeing a lot in the media is that people they're oversimplifying this. It's either, the critics are saying that under the Constitution, the president doesn't have this authority, only Congress has this authority. On the other side, you're hearing that, under the commander-in-chief powers of the Constitution, the president has authority to do things. And I think, like most things, there's a little bit more nuance to that question. The president does have authority to defend the United States and act as commander-in-chief. Of course, Congress does have congressional powers to declare war. The question is, in this kind of a situation where the president uses force in a foreign country, short of a full-on kind of ground war where we anticipate that troops are going to be in country for longer than 60 days, does the president have that authority? And it is one of those murky questions, and I think people are still debating that right now.
Ryan, we've certainly seen a lot with this administration, the use of executive orders. Some would say the abuse of executive orders, but that gives the administration the authority to act in times of national security when there really isn't time to go strike up bills with Congress and that type of thing. And I'm assuming that that's going to be the authority by which the administration is relying on here. But that's, and I guess haven't got to the question yet, but isn't that the only authority he can actually claim at this point?
I actually think that they won't rely on executive order. Executive orders are really used to fill gaps, either in statute, the law passed by Congress, or where there's inherent constitutional authority. I think here the most likely way under U.S. law that the president will justify the use of force and the continuing use of force against Iran is either under Article 2 powers, which are the powers in the Constitution provided to the president, and specifically here, commander-in-chief powers is, I think, what they'll rely on. Or you have heard some officials like Mike Pompeo start to argue that 2001 authorization for use of military force by Congress, the granting authority that allowed the president to use force against al-Qaeda and the Taliban back in 2001, is something that they'll rely on. I think that's really flimsy, and most legal experts are saying that, the 2001 AUMF is just not a good source of authority. But that Article 2 authority that I just spoke to is something that presidents have used in the past. Usually there's been a little bit more imminence in terms of self-defense, but it's something that there is precedent for and would not require an executive order.
So, Ryan, can you talk to us about international law, and does the United States and Israel, does it matter?
That is a really good question. I actually teach international law classes and law of armed conflicts, and that is the question that we always get to, which is, does it matter? I will say it seems pretty clear under international law that the strikes against Iran are illegal. The U.S. law question is a little bit murkier. The international law question seems pretty clear. And that's because under the UN Charter, post-1945, what we agreed to as a community of nations is that we would not violate each other's sovereignty unless we were doing it in self-defense or that the UN Security Council authorized it. And the self-defense prong, because a lot of states would say, well, there's constant threats that we have to take care of. The self-defense prong requires that there be imminence, that a state is going to attack you if you don't attack them first. And the classic example of that is the 1967 Israeli war against its neighbors, where troops are stationed on the border and Israel takes out those posts before they can attack them the next morning. That just doesn't seem to be apparent here. Iran is developing nuclear weapons, but didn't seem, very close to having those available, and didn't seem in any respect to be targeting the United States in any kind of imminent way. The question that you've asked, which is, I think, really important, was, okay, so what then, right? If it is illegal under international law, does that matter? And I think that it does in a lot of ways, but not in ways that will, lead to kind of criminal liability or anything like that. The United States standing as a leader, the most powerful country in the world and kind of the leader of the free world, is certainly challenged by things like this, where, we flout international law. The rules-based order that we established after 1945 that we presided over, and that really has, undergirded our position and kind of the world that we created and the world that we lead, is challenged by instances where the United States openly flouts international law. So I think there are consequences. There can be even greater consequences with, nations deciding not to trade with us or to impose economic sanctions or things like that. But even short of that, undermining the world order that we've created is something that has pretty lasting repercussions.
Very well. Thank you very much. That was Ryan Vogel, Associate Professor and the Founding Director of the Center for National Security Studies at Utah Valley University. And I think he hit it square on, both nationally and internationally in terms of the law. The UN Charter probably was violated, but what's the remedy? I mean, what does the UN do? The sanction, censure? It's something the United States and Israel impose some sort of other remedies, but they probably were not consulted. I mean, the Security Council certainly didn't know about this. And he's right about the self-defense argument, because I think that's what the United States might claim is, hey, if we hadn't done this,
they were going to hit us.
But the word imminent, was it imminent that they were going to do something? That's the threshold question that I think we're going to have a hard time crossing.
Yeah, it's interesting, and there are rippling effects. So in Utah, gas prices spiked 16 cents overnight from yesterday to today, and the strikes on Iran could continue and probably will continue to drive up oil prices. So we're going to talk about what risks this can create for supply and the stock market, and what you are going to pay at the pump with an expert when we come back.
I was in foot pain for 20 years, trying to give it relief, buying all these different insoles. Drugstore insoles, custom insoles. I spent thousands of dollars. I bought all these products, and not a single one worked. I really, truly needed to have relief in my feet. And the Good Feet arch supports were what gave me the relief I needed.
For over 20 years, we've been helping people like Teresa actually live the life they love without their feet getting in the way.
They wanted to make sure that I got something that my feet felt good in, not somebody else's feet. I love the fact that I can wear these arch supports in all my shoes. I have boots, I have cowboy boots, I have running shoes, I have walking shoes, I have flat shoes, I have heels. It makes me so happy. If you ask my husband, he will crack up because there is no store I would rather go in than a shoe store. I'm Teresa, and that's my Good Feet story.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com/contests.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you have a drain that's clogged or backed up, after you've tried the plungers and products, the next step usually involves some kind of drain snake or cabling equipment. You see, sometimes the blockage is far enough down the line that you need special equipment that most homeowners just don't have. That's where the Drains Department at Any Hour Services can help. A drain snake can clear most blockages and get the water flowing again, and clearing blocked drains is what our Drains Department does day in and day out. So if you're a homeowner with a drain line that's clogged or backed up and you'd like one of our drain technicians to come and snake the line for you, it's only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life, like rugs. People say a rug would really bring the room together. And sure, you don't know what that means, but it sounds important. Suddenly you're using words like jute and sisal. Then you see the price and lose it, because how can the thing you walk and spill on cost so much? So you devote your life to taking down Big Rug. But then you remember that switching your home and auto to Progressive could save you hundreds. So, looks like Big Rug is safe. For now. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Dear Linex, 8 years ago when I bought one of your spray-on truck bed liners, I started my construction business, then landscaping, then there were the camping trips. But even after all that, my Linex spray-on bed liner still looks great. Thing is, I'd really like to get rid of that old truck. Isn't there any way to destroy this thing?
Actually, no. Linex spray-on bed liners are guaranteed for the life of your truck. Linex, serious protection, killer looks, guaranteed.
Linex of Midville is now open for business at 7000 South State. Linex and Jordan Camper have teamed up to offer you the very best in protective coatings and truck accessories. We specialize in truck tops and tonneau covers from ARE, a wide range of products from floor mats to step bars. Just what you need to make your truck look and perform its best. Jordan Camper at 7000 South State features multiple installation bays with trained technicians ready to install. Follow us on jordancamper.com and Facebook.
If you're struggling with your mortgage, there's a free government program that offers expert one-on-one advice about your mortgage options. Call 1-888-995-HOPE or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
And expanded Inside Sources.
We had heard, and we're talking about the fact that the strikes in Iran could drive up oil prices, and according to the AAA, gas prices in Utah spiked 16 cents yesterday. We had heard 5, maybe 10 cents a day. 16 cents seems like a lot.
So on the line with us today to help us understand the impact on oil and gas prices, because I've seen a lot of things, right, and heard a lot of things, We have Jay Young. He's the founder and CEO of King Operating Corporation, which is an oil and gas investment firm in Dallas. Thanks for joining us again, Jay.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me again. Hope everything's well out there.
Yeah, well, sure. Gas prices are
If
up.
you're paying too much at the pump,
look,
no, you're paying too much at the pump. It's getting ready to go up.
Yeah,
and I believe it's really going to continue.
So how can you talk to us first of all about shipping of oil through the Straits of Hormuz? Because that's one of the things that I've seen is going to cause these prices to spike.
Yeah, that's very true. There's half, India, China, that's where they get their oil. Saudi Arabia, 90% of their budget money comes from being able to ship through the Strait of Hormuz, and 20% of all oil in the world, 1 out of 5 barrels, comes through this one little area that's a canal, because that's where the majority of the oil is being produced in these countries, Saudi Arabia and so forth. So when you have a disruption, any disruption whatsoever, you're going to see prices move. And when you have 100 million barrels a day that's needed around the world, and everything's okay. Everybody's like, yeah, we're producing it. We're the supply and demand. It's the reason why prices go up and down is because of supply and demand. That's the only reason why it goes up and down. And if you have an oversupply of oil and everybody's moving, great. But if you have a disruption and you have a less supply, I was going to say undersupply, but I don't know. Is that a word, undersupply? But if you have an undersupply or you have a less supply on the market, the demand is there and it stays strong, which oil demand continues to stay strong throughout the world. We're going to see prices that are going to move up. And there's 3 reasons why oil is going to go up by the end of this year, which is a different topic. But in the meantime, it's going to get there quicker because of the war and what's going on. And Trump said this morning that this may be weeks long. Weeks long. May not be just to go in and attack and move on and let's do the next let's do the next deal. I mean, he's saying it could be. I mean, he said we're ahead of schedule. Of course, that's President Trump. Yeah, we are weeks long, but we're ahead of schedule on what we're trying to do. But right now, we're seeing a really good. We're seeing what really happens when you have a disruption, and oil prices could go to 80, even they say as high as 100 if the war continues. And if that happens, you're going to see the price of gasoline go to $3, $3.50, even could go to $4. I mean, we've lived this before under Obama and Biden, where prices were higher, and we were paying more at the pump.
So I guess I don't understand.
Which is bad.
Right.
Yeah.
You talked about India, China, Saudi Arabia getting a lot of their oil from this Strait of Hormuz. We don't necessarily. In fact, we've been borrowing some oil from Argentina lately, or Venezuela, I should say. We've been getting oil.
Venezuela, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Venezuela. But it seems like the U.S. should be pretty flush. Why are our prices, or is it just a global market? And if it goes up in Saudi Arabia, it goes up in the United States.
Yeah, exactly. It is. It's a global market, and what happens every day? What happens when we need 100 million barrels of oil, and we're not seeing it, and things are just, moving toward. We don't have it. We're going to have to try to get it from somewhere, and if we get the oil from somewhere, and we don't have it or they don't have it, we try to pay more for it. People are just going to be paying more for it. It's just a global. It's global supply and demand, 100 million barrels. Everybody wants it. And if they don't get their hands on it, then prices are going to go up, which is not good for Americans because, we have, if it's good for oil and gas producers like King Operating, but it's not good for, transportation goes up, airline tickets go up, gasoline goes up, for the summertime, which is going to go up anyway. This is just helping it get there faster. And it's all because of cycles in the markets. Oil has averaged $78 a barrel over the last 5, 10, 20 years. It's going to go back up because we're in a cycle right now, and it's going to go up. But this is helping it get there faster because we're seeing a global demand right now. We're seeing demand continuing to go up. And when you don't have that supply, and Now, when things, let's say Saudi Arabia, let's say Iran does not, force any hand, and they've talked about shutting down the Strait of Hormuz, then you see that transportation shut down 100%. You're going to see prices that could go to $150 a barrel.
Wow.
But if you see right now, and if it opens up, you're going to see a lot of oil that'll come back on the market, and it will take care of itself. But right now it's just a matter of how we're dealing with the oil that's on the markets and trying to get that from A to B.
I have a quick question. We have a senator here in Utah. It's John Curtis, and he has said we don't want to just be energy independent. We want to be energy dominant. Is this somehow, do you think it could have a positive impact on U.S. production?
Yeah, no, I don't. Well, yes, in a sense. Now we produce about 13 million barrels a day. United States operators, oil and gas, we produce 13 million barrels a day. We need 20, if not more than 20 million barrels every day. So and our refineries can't even work on 13 million. We need to refine it overseas and bring it back. So that's a whole different story as well. See how much things we have to talk about? We have so many things to talk about. But we need 13. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was going to. You piqued my interest about the three things that we still have coming up at the end of the year. But we need to break. Jay, thank you so much for joining us. We need to bring you back. We're going to pivot now to President Trump, who's speaking about what happened and why, and he spoke specifically about regime change.
Well, most of the people we had in mind are dead. So we had some in mind from that group that is dead, and now we have another group. They may be dead also, based on reports. So I guess you have a third wave coming in. Pretty soon we're not going to know anybody. But we have, Venezuela was so incredible because we did the attack and we kept government totally intact. And we have Delcy, who's been very good. We have the whole chain of command, and they've been, look, the relationship's been great. We've taken out 100 million barrels of oil already. And a big part of that goes to them, and a big part goes to us. And it's been great. We paid for the war many times over, and we're going to be running the oil. And Venezuela is going to make more money than they ever made, and that's great for the people. The relationship has been great. It's been seamless. Nobody's actually ever seen anything like it. If you look at Iraq, where very stupidly everybody was fired, the generals were fired, the military was fired, the police were fired, the fire departments were fired, and all of the government workers were fired. So after, people would call, they had no idea. And by the way, ISIS was formed. That's where ISIS came from, all of the fired people. We don't believe in that. So we'll see what happens, but first we have to finish off the military.
What do you think?
I guess he is. Some people like him, and we haven't been thinking about too much about that. It would seem to me that somebody from within maybe would be more appropriate. I've said that. He looks like a very nice person, but it would seem to me that somebody that's there, that's currently popular, if there's such a person. But we have people like that. We have people that were more moderate. These were radical lunatics, and you know what they get? They get nothing. All they do is kill people.
What exactly was the imminent?
You've asked, not your turn. Not your turn, please.
Mr. President, are you going to take the heat off the European superintendent to help you? Mark Rutte called on the allies to also help you.
What does that mean?
Well, you have to ask Mark Rutte. He said not as part of NATO, but to be helpful to you in this.
Well, some of the European nations have been helpful, and some haven't, and I'm, very surprised. Germany has been great; he's been terrific. Others have been very good, terrific. I think that the head of NATO, Mark, is fantastic. Okay, Mark Rutte, I think he's fantastic. But some of the European, like Spain, has been terrible. In fact, I told Scott to cut off all dealings with Spain. Spain, first of all, it started when every European nation, at my request, paid 5%, which they should be doing. and everybody was enthusiastic about it, Germany, everybody, and Spain didn't do it. And now Spain actually said that we can't use their bases, and that's all right. We could use their base if we want. We could just fly in and use it. Nobody's going to tell us not to use it, but we don't have to. But they were unfriendly, and so I told him we don't want to. Spain has absolutely nothing that we need other than great people. They have great people, but they don't have great leadership. And as you know, they were the only country that in NATO would not agree to go up to 5%. I don't think they would have agreed to go up to anything. They wanted to keep it at 2%, and they don't pay the 2%. So we're going to cut off all trade with Spain. We don't want anything.
We've been listening to President Trump address the nation. He's also alongside the German Chancellor as he's talking about why we got into this conflict and the support that we're getting and not getting from Europe. We're going to take a break for a minute. We may come back to that after this.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10:01 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. As you've been hearing, President Trump speaking with reporters right now at the White House alongside the Chancellor of Germany, and most of the questions about the strikes in Iran.
It was my opinion that they were going to attack first. They were going to attack. If we didn't do it, they were going to attack first. I felt strongly about that. And we have great negotiators, great people that do this very successfully and have done it all their lives very successful. And based on the way the negotiation was going, I think they were going to attack first. And I didn't want that to happen. So if anything, I might have forced Israel's hand.
The president of Iran no longer has air protection or detection system. The president says, that Iran no longer has air protection or detection systems, and the strikes on their missile systems will continue. Utah Congressman Mike Kennedy is voicing his support for the U.S. military strikes in Iran. However, Kennedy says there needs to be clear endpoints in mind in terms of the U.S.'s role in what comes next for Iran.
I'm not invested as a congressman in seeing forever wars or seeing us brought into nation building in countries that are very different from us and don't have any interest in becoming like United States of America.
Kennedy also said we need to be sure Iran never possesses missiles or other long-range weapons that can reach U.S. shores. In statements to the Deseret News, Utah Congressman Blake Moore and Burgess Owens, as well as Senator Mike Lee, also voiced their support for the U.S. operation. Your money at this moment, the Dow down 713 points from the opening bell to 48,191. Coming up, storms move out for a couple of days. We're also still dealing with some traffic problems here and there. Traffic and weather together is next. KSL News Time 10:03. The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
A family office is a team built to handle the three biggest financial responsibilities a family faces: wealth management, tax strategy, and estate planning. Most firms only manage your investments and refer the rest out, hoping everyone stays aligned. At Trajan, we built something different. Your wealth, tax planning, and estate planning are handled together inside one firm under one roof. There's no guessing whether your CPA, advisor, and estate attorney are truly in sync, because our team works together every day on your behalf. When your financial life becomes more complex, your advice should become more coordinated, not more fragmented. One plan, one trusted team. Call Trajan today, 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures and accreditation at TrajanWealth.com.
Kitchen and bath transformations start with AMC Building Materials. AMC Building Materials is a large kitchen cabinet and countertop supplier serving both wholesale and retail customers. AMC offers factory direct pricing on all interior remodeling materials, giving you exceptional value without sacrificing quality. Most standard items are available for quick payment and pickup right away. AMC Building Materials provides professional service, free design, and free on-site measurements, along with expert installation by top AMC professionals. From bold kitchen designs to beautiful functional bathrooms, AMC delivers outstanding value with styles you'll love. And best of all, most projects can be completed within just 10 days. Come experience beauty you can see, quality you can feel, and service you can trust. Get directions to the new AMC Building Materials showroom at 3678 South 700 West today and schedule your free estimate. Visit amckitchenslc.org. That's amckitchenslc.org.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. Up to $500 for loan transfers. Love where you bank. Here's Cormac Bone.
The only issue you have on I-15 from Ogden to Provo is southbound in Salt Lake County. This is approaching, or just after 13th South. We had a crash blocking the right shoulder. They were causing delays. It looks like they're working their way out, but it might be just a little bit slow as you pass 13th South, southbound I-15 in Salt Lake County. The other crash that we have, this is in Davis County, both directions of SR 193 at Industrial Parkway. That's over the bridge from the tracks. We are seeing them clean up that crash, and traffic affected both directions there. Looks like that vehicle on the tow truck is pulling away right now. Otherwise, no real major delays besides those two things. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather forecast: highs today in the lower 50s as the storm clouds move out. Then it dries up Wednesday, but more rain coming possibly on Thursday. And if temperatures drop enough overnight, we could get a rain-snow mix on the valley floor in Friday morning. Right now, it's cloudy and 43 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
We want to go back to the press conference President Trump is holding right now at the White House. He's alongside German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, and he's talking about maybe giving a message to the people of Iran and talking about the regime change if there's going to be one.
That we felt right, but it totally reaffirmed it. It said you can use all of these tariffs. So we have all these vast menus of tariffs, and tariffs have made our country very rich. We have to charge tariffs to nations who play with their money. You know, they move their money up and down like a yo-yo. We have to take care of nations that have been good to us and fair to us, and we're going to take care of them. Other nations, they haven't, and we haven't let them take advantage of us. But the whole thing with tariffs is we had a decision that, like, as an example, we have a license situation, and the license is something that allows us to immediately stop all business with, nobody even knew we had this power, but we do now because of the decision. We have the right to stop all business having to do with a certain country. If a certain country is not treating us well, the president, without going to Congress, has the right to stop. Sort of interesting. I have the right to stop, but under that one law, I didn't have the right to charge them. So I have the right to license them, but I don't have the right to charge, which is frankly ridiculous.
Okay, we didn't expect him to pivot into tariffs, or maybe we should have. But that's not what we wanted you to hear about. He did speak with reporters earlier about some concerns, and he did indicate that he thought, and the reason that he felt that the United States and Israel had to act is that he felt that Iran was going to strike first.
Based on the way the negotiation was going, I think they were going to attack first, and I didn't want that to happen. So if anything, I might have forced Israel's hand. But Israel was ready, and we were ready, and we've had a very, very powerful impact because virtually everything they have has been knocked out now. Their missile count is going way down. Amazingly, they're hitting countries that were, let's call them neutral, right? They lived together for a long time. I think they were surprised. I was surprised. And now those countries are all fighting against them and fighting strongly against them. Someday they'll write a story and they'll say why they did that. But they hit countries that had nothing to do with what's going on. They were sort of leaving everything alone. All of a sudden they had missiles shot in.
The other thing, too, is he talked about what he felt would be the worst case with regime change.
I guess the worst case would be we do this and then somebody takes over who's as bad as the previous person, right? That could happen. We don't want that to happen. That would probably be the worst. You go through this and then in 5 years you realize you put somebody in who was no better. So we'd like to see somebody in there that's going to bring it back for the people. And we'll see what happens with the people. They have their chance. And we've said don't do it yet. If you're going to go out and protest, don't do it yet. It's very dangerous out there. A lot of bombs are being dropped.
Yeah, he in some respects, during this press conference, Holly, he was addressing the Iranian public, seemingly saying a couple of things. One, don't go out and protest yet because we're not through bombing. And second, let's dial back in terms of regime change because we don't want to be having to go through the same thing 5 years from now.
Yeah, that could be a warning. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about U.S. elections. One of the things that's interesting is how this might play out in the midterms. And today is actually the first primary election of the 2026 midterms. It's a little bit shocking to me that it feels so early. Our primaries aren't even until June, and we don't even have filing yet. That starts next week, and we have had some special issues, but we have Texas, North Carolina, and Arkansas that will be going to the polls today in their primaries.
Yeah, ABC political director Avery Harper has more.
Midterm elections aren't just a measure of the president's popularity. They determine whether his agenda advances or stalls. And historically, these elections are unforgiving to the party in power. Republicans are fighting to defend narrow majorities in both the House and the Senate, control that allows them to drive the president's priorities forward. A Democratic House could launch investigations and block key legislation, putting the president on the defensive.
I think one of the things, too, is we're talking about Texas, and Texas has some, I would say, pretty interesting / hot elections this year. And there's a Republican Senate primary, but there's also a Democratic Senate primary. And there are a lot of people watching how that plays out because if Ken Paxton wins the Senate primary, he could very well lose the general. And that's one of the things Republicans are watching.
Yeah, Republicans are watching and Democrats are watching because they're thinking the same thing. James Tellerico has come out with guns blazing and seeming very popular, but Jasmine Crockett jumped in, and Democrats are thinking the same thing Republicans are about Paxton, which is maybe she's not the person to carry the day. Certainly popular with Democrats, but in a general election, Paxton for the Republicans and Crockett for the Democrats are the party's second choice.
Right.
Maybe third choice. Right.
Right. And that's interesting. There's a what's his name? A beleaguered congressman in Texas who Speaker Johnson doesn't want him to resign because the vote is so tight in the House. There's also, anyway, he's the one who had an affair with a staffer. She ended up dying by setting herself on fire. He's got tons of scandal. A lot of people want him to step down. And Mike Johnson is like, no, he doesn't need to step down. Just let it play out. And I think maybe they're hoping that he'll lose his primary today.
And so this is a primary in Texas. There's also one in North Carolina and Arkansas, but it's going to signal a lot about what's going on. This Texas seat is currently held by Republican Senator Cornyn, I think.
Yeah.
And he would have been on another day way ahead of the curve. But right now he's in a dogfight for his own party, and the Democrats seem to have some chance at this one as well.
And I would also say that Paxton is scandal-ridden. So he has a ton of scandal following him around, and yet he seems to be the favorite.
Yeah.
Okay, so right now we're going to pivot and talk about Supreme Court arguments and specifically about gun possession and illegal drug use and what that means with marijuana. Stay with us. We're going to talk to an expert when we come back.
Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
We'll admit, we've already thrown in the towel on the New Year's resolution.
Yeah, and we made it through dry January. But one healthy new habit we're sticking with is Active Liver from New Nordic. Did you know your liver works around the clock processing food, sugar, alcohol, and everyday toxins? All things that can really impact your health.
That's why daily support matters. Active Liver is designed to help protect normal liver function and support your body's natural detox process.
With trusted ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and artichoke extract, it's gentle enough to take all year long.
No harsh cleanses, no extreme detoxes, just simple daily liver support. We really feel the difference.
Yup, more energy and the peace of mind knowing we can enjoy the good things in life while giving our liver the love it needs.
Active Liver is available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com. Or you can find it in stores at CVS, Meijer Grocery, Wegmans, and now Active Liver is available at your local GNC.
This is Jeff Stout with Fink and McGregor, Mortgages Made Simple. Let's talk conventional versus FHA loans. Both offer cash-out refinances up to 80% loan-to-value or LTV, so which is best for you? It's kind of like Uber and Lyft. I always compare the two before booking a ride. Conventional loans don't have mortgage insurance under 80% LTV. However, the rates and costs get higher with lower credit scores, cash out, and high LTVs. FHA loans always have mortgage insurance, but the rates are lower, they don't penalize you for cash out and high LTV loans, and they allow for higher debt-to-income ratios. FHA often results in lower payment even with mortgage insurance. We can analyze your situation within minutes. Call us today. Fink and McGregor, Mortgages Made Simple, 801-264-9494. That's 264-9494. Or on the web at finkmcgregor.com. NMLS 289115.
Emergency medical unit, respond to 102 Maple Avenue, possible stroke victim.
When stroke occurs, you have 60 minutes to win or lose the race of your life. There are new treatments, but you must get to a hospital fast. If you suddenly feel weakness on one side, have trouble speaking, walking, or seeing, it could be a stroke. Call 911. Get to a hospital. Because how you spend the next 60 minutes could determine how you spend the rest of your life. Stroke. Know the signs. Act in time. A message from the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke.
Some of the most meaningful jewelry you own isn't new. It's inherited. A ring from a grandmother. A necklace tucked away in a drawer. Pieces full of memories, but no longer your style. Duke's Jeweler specializes in reimagining family heirlooms into custom pieces you'll actually wear and love. Duke's on-site jewelers and designers work with you one-on-one to honor the original story while creating something fresh, modern, and uniquely yours. From resetting diamonds into new engagement rings to transforming multiple heirloom pieces into one stunning design, every project is crafted with care, precision, and intention. Don't let meaningful jewelry sit unused. Let it live on beautifully. Visit Duke's Jewelers on Main Street in Springville or online at dukesjewelers.com. Duke's Jewelers, where old stories become new treasures. dukesjewelers.com.
Any Hour Services can help you make sure your furnace keeps you warm this winter. Whether you need a tune-up, a repair, or a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
and expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
Let's talk about the Second Amendment and drug possession. And I only mention that because arguments were held at the United States Supreme Court on this specific issue. And let me just digress for just a second. In Utah and most states honor the Second Amendment and provide that only in rare circumstance can you take someone's firearms rights away. But those include such things as you're in the country illegally. You cannot legally possess a firearm. We call these restricted persons. You're convicted of a felon. That would make you a restricted person. You're convicted of certain crimes, certain felonies, I should say, crimes involving domestic violence, even misdemeanors. But there are a number of others. One that catches people a lot that they don't expect. In fact, somebody called me yesterday and said I was growing marijuana in my house, and the police came, and I happen to have a shotgun. That makes that possession of a shotgun a felony. You know what I mean?
Because he was growing and he wasn't.
Well, you can't possess drugs and guns at the same time.
Yeah.
And so another thing that's come up, of course, is more and more states are legalizing marijuana use. So what does that mean? Well, some arguments were held at the United States Supreme Court on this very issue. And let's just set this up a little bit with the help of ABC's Start Here podcast.
The Supreme Court heard an interesting case yesterday involving what sounds like a pretty straightforward law. For decades, drug users have not been allowed to own firearms. Simple. But yesterday, the question was, well, what qualifies someone as a drug user?
As of right now, I have 0 firearms.
And why is that?
I could serve 10 years in prison for having a firearm because I am, according to the feds, an illegal user of marijuana. I mean, it's...
This is a guy named Rob Green speaking to ABC's senior Washington reporter Devin Dwyer. Green lives in rural northwest Pennsylvania. He's a die-hard hunter. He also has a prescription for medical marijuana.
So how often do you use?
When I was the DA, once or twice every week or two, maybe once a week on an average would be good. I'm not a daily user.
According to federal authorities, the law doesn't really discriminate between different federally scheduled drugs. Devin says you could be a documented cocaine abuser, a methamphetamine addict, or a recreational marijuana user. None are supposed to own a gun or even have one in their household, even if they're stone cold sober when it's used.
The plaintiff, Ali Hamani of Texas, who was charged on one count by federal authorities for having a 9mm pistol in his home. He wasn't even holding it when the feds got there, but he admitted to smoking marijuana 2 or 3 times a week, and that was enough for them to try to put him behind bars for up to 15 years.
So it's probably no surprise this case has now worked itself up to the United States Supreme Court, and we do have Kelsey Dallas with us. Kelsey, thanks for joining us this morning.
I'm happy to be here. This is a very interesting issue.
It certainly is, and you're our Supreme Court reporter. So tell us about the arguments and what was being heard.
Yeah, the podcast clip you played did a great job of setting up sort of the boundaries of the discussion. The court is considering the constitutionality of this federal statute that is barring people who use illegal drugs or are addicted to illegal drugs from owning guns. The argument itself yesterday was fascinating for multiple reasons. For one thing, you don't hear Supreme Court justices talking about drug use very often, and there were some humorous moments where they're describing hypotheticals that just sound so strange coming out of the justices' mouths. So this is a good one to listen to. If anybody out there doesn't regularly engage with the Supreme Court, I recommend it. But the other reason it was interesting is that the court was surprisingly hostile to the federal government's arguments. In other words, it seems as if the court is going to narrow the application of this statute in question or force changes to it.
So, Kelsey, let me ask you this. You have been a longtime observer of the Supreme Court. What does it mean when they strongly argue against? Like, what does that look like?
Well, what it looks like, because they don't come out and say during an argument, I'm going to rule against you, government attorney. What it actually looks like is I'm going to ask you a lot of tough questions. So sort of those are the clues that Supreme Court watchers are watching for on argument days, is who is pushing hard against which attorney. And sometimes justices will throw you for a loop by really having that same posture against both sides. Like, I have very tough questions for you. I'm not happy with your position here. But yesterday, it just felt clear that there were more justices pushing harder against the government and not as many pushing hard against the advocate who was representing this man, Ali Daniel Hamani, who, as the clip noted, had confessed to smoking marijuana every other day.
We're joined this morning by Kelsey Dallas, managing editor of SCOTUS blog. So, Kelsey, as I understand it, maybe you can help me out, could the court carve out an exception for these laws that we have in Utah and nationally with respect to possessing a firearm and possessing drugs and say, well, but since marijuana has been rescheduled, reclassified, or sometimes legal in some states, that particular felony won't be prosecuted anymore? I didn't know that.
Well, it's complicated. I mean, I don't think I'll do a good job stating what this opinion could look like because it's complicated. It feels like it will be a loss for the federal government in some sense, but I don't think that it will totally remove the ability to restrict gun use or access to guns for drug users, because I think the justices generally agree with the idea that someone can become more dangerous on certain drugs or using a certain amount of certain drugs, but that they weren't satisfied with the language of this law, which basically is saying not just drug addicts, but an unlawful user of drugs. And so they could just focus on the idea that unlawful user is too vague of a term. Like, what does it mean to be a user? Is that literally anyone who uses any drug? Well, if that's the case, how can the government say that that person is definitely dangerous? Because the justices were pointing out that it seems like drugs like Ambien for sleep support would be caught up in this definition if you happen to take an Ambien one time that was actually prescribed to your partner, for example. And they're saying, like, that could be a major problem if that person is then caught with a drug or a gun the next day. But are we really comfortable saying that that person is as dangerous as someone who was high on, like, PCP or something psychoactive and had a gun? And so I think what the court is driving at is that so much variety of drug use is caught up in this one statute, and Congress needed to have it more narrowly applied.
So can you, if marijuana use is legal in some states, and this argument is illegal use of drugs, would there be different states able to apply this, even though it's a federal decision?
No, the government is saying that marijuana use is a problem nationwide as long as marijuana remains a controlled substance at the federal level, which it does. The more interesting question on Monday was, what does it mean that the government is now trying to reschedule marijuana to make it sort of a lesser drug, not at the same level as other drugs like cocaine? And that raised complications in the government's position because they're saying, okay, maybe moving forward, we need to focus on these other more, quote, dangerous drugs. And so in our SCOTUS blog conversation about it on our live blog, one of our experts was talking about how it didn't really make sense that the federal government had decided to push for this case to be in front of the Supreme Court because of what you're saying, which is that marijuana as a drug is so complicated with the state versus federal tension, the federal government's changing position on it. And so a lot of people were left scratching their heads about why was this specific case the one that the federal government was saying, yes, Supreme Court, please take up this specific case, this specific guy, and we want to hash this out with you.
Thank you, Kelsey. That was Kelsey Dallas, managing editor of SCOTUS blog. And I want to say this, Holly, some people think that marijuana has been rescheduled. In fact, there was a proposal by the administration to consider reschedule. I think Trump sent it to his Department of Health and Human Services and said, we want you to study whether or not marijuana could be rescheduled. So right now, it's still a controlled substance, the same as other serious drugs.
It's a really interesting argument to me.
Yeah, we'll see where that goes. That was a really good conversation from her as well. She's always on top of these things so well. We've been talking for the last several days, even weeks, about the world's largest family reunion, which is taking place this week. When we come back, we'll learn more about the expo hall that's being set up as we speak.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. President Trump meeting with the Chancellor of Germany at the White House this hour, and he just wrapped up a question and answer session with reporters. President Trump was mostly asked about the attacks in Iran and who he wants to see take over as the next leader of that country. He didn't have any specific names.
It would seem to me that somebody that's there, that's currently popular, if there's such a person. But we have people like that. We have people that were more moderate. You know, these were radical lunatics, and you know what they get? They get nothing. All they do is kill people.
President Trump says he hopes the people of Iran rise up and help form the new government, but he says we aren't at that point yet, and there's more waves of attacks to come to destroy the country's ability to attack others. Eye on the Hill 2026, the state legislature has approved over $40 million to address homelessness in the state, but lawmakers are asking county governments to match their contribution to build up more resources. The Utah legislature said no to creating 2 new state holidays. One bill tried to designate Election Day as a state holiday to encourage people to get out and vote. That bill failed on the House floor. Another bill to make Good Friday a state holiday didn't make it out of debate in the Senate. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 600 points to 48,293. Coming up, we get a break between storms. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:31.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Did you know 96% of Americans lose an average of $111,000 in Social Security income? And it's because they claim their benefits at the wrong time. Don't lose $111,000 in Social Security income that's rightfully yours. Learn how you could wring every nickel out of your benefits on Retirement Solutions Radio this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL, News Radio 1027.
An emergency can happen any second. Here's a few seconds to think about where you'd go. When you need medical care fast, the closest emergency room is a smart thing to know. Common Spirit Health ERs are your direct path between feeling scared or uncomfortable and feeling better. Find emergency care in your neighborhood at mountain.commonspirit.org.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jeff's day is off to a slow start. So he heads to AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination, where Sammy, a local AutoZoner, tests his battery for free. Looks like he just needs a charge. And Sammy does that for free too. In no time at all, Jeff is back on the road, ready to finish the day strong. Free battery testing and charging at every store. No hassles, just help.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Every day here in Utah, people turn to KSL News Radio for one simple reason: trust. Trust for our reporters, hosts, our coverage, and trust in the businesses heard right here. I've met so many of our listeners over the years, and they'll tell you KSL is part of their daily routine, in the car, at work, at home. And when they hear your business here, it carries the weight of that trust. It isn't just another ad. It's a recommendation coming from a reliable source. When you advertise on KSL News Radio, you reach a loyal, highly engaged audience who listens intentionally. They show up for breaking news, accurate information, and meaningful conversations. And because of that connection, they respond. And when you pair our on-air credibility with digital tools like display advertising, social media, streaming audio, search, geo-targeting, and retargeting, you get a full funnel strategy that works and reaches the right people at the right time. Get marketing that truly moves the needle. Partner with the voice Utah trusts. KSL. Learn more at kslnewsradio.com/advertise.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Let's check in again with Cormac Bone in the traffic center.
Well, all our crashes and major slowdowns have cleared off the road. It's once again a problem-free drive really all across the Wasatch Front. Shouldn't see any slowdowns on I-15 from Ogden to Provo. Might see a little bit of slowdowns westbound on the 201 through Magna, but again, really shouldn't see anything too terrible out there. Bad weather and parking lots love GoPave Utah. GoPave Utah loves snow. Don't wait for bad weather. Schedule your snow removal service with GoPave Utah. Visit GoPaveUtah.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather forecast, rain clouds clearing out. We should dry up for a couple of days, but then another colder storm arrives Thursday morning. That'll bring us rain and possibly a mix of rain and snow in the valleys by Friday morning. Right now it's cloudy at 43 degrees. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
I have to say, Holly, you've got me excited about doing family history. I mean, seriously, It's not something I ever thought about. It just, back in the day, I just thought it seemed so tedious and so hard to do. And
it seemed like an old people thing, huh?
Right, yeah. Well, I'm there now, and I've actually got a client, a woman that's helped me a little bit, done some things, and so now I'm excited about jumping into it myself.
I know, and I've heard the people from Roots Tech refer to it as the world's biggest family reunion, so it made me think of some of my family reunion stories. So I have a grandma. She's passed away now. She was 97 when she passed away. And before she died, we had a family reunion, and it was up in Washington State. And she was she was telling us how she decided to marry her second husband. She was widowed, and she was a really big soap opera watcher. Like, she just loved the soap operas, and she would watch those. And then she demonstrated for the entire family, including grandkids and great-grandkids, the soap opera kiss with the husband that she chose. And I'm like, Grandma! but she was funny. And she was a Rosie the Riveter. And so that's a family story that was just really fun. So do you have a family reunion story?
My family reunions were a disaster because my mom and all her cousins would get together, and all of us second cousins were like, I don't know you.
Yeah.
But we would try to get to know each other. But they would get together all the time. I feel badly about something that we don't carry on family reunions much in my family. And I've tried to keep at least the immediate family keep going together since my parents passed away. But I mean, I think family reunions are as important now as ever.
Yeah, and luckily we have somebody to talk to us about where we can get some ideas. And so our guest today is Sean Canny. He's the outreach manager for Roots Tech, and he is a neighbor and friend of mine. I'm so lucky.
Oh.
Thanks for joining us, Sean.
Oh, so happy to be here. Thank you so much, Holly.
Can you answer Greg's question? Is there anything he could gain from maybe the expo hall at Roots Tech that would help him set up a family reunion that was not a disaster?
Absolutely. That is an interesting question because we have so many different exhibitors and sponsors that come into the expo hall. So really, there is something for everyone. There's people that are bringing charts, people that are offering education. We have associations. We have new technology. And so there's really something for everyone. So, yeah, Greg, I think there'd probably be someone there that could help you set up a successful family reunion.
So tell us what that looks like. Tell us about the event, when it starts, where it is, and how people can learn more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So the event is going to be starting this Thursday, and the expo hall will be opening this Thursday, and we go from Thursday to Saturday. And so, the expo hall is bigger than we've ever had it this year. We have so many exhibitors and sponsors that come to this event, and we have over 220 exhibitors and sponsors that will be there this year at Roots Tech. And so, I don't know, what else can I tell you? What are you interested in?
The expo hall, is this the we call the Salt Palace?
It's there, right? The classes are there too, but the expo hall is in the Salt Palace, right, Sean?
Okay. Yeah, exactly. So we do have all kinds of classes that can be attended, but the expo hall is free, and it is a part of the Salt Palace. It's a huge area that you can just go into. We have maps so that to help you get around. And it's really fun. You can just go up to different sponsors, exhibitors, vendors that are there, and they have, like I said, education. They can teach you how to do things, teach you how to find your ancestors. A lot of people go there to try to help with roadblocks that they have in their family history. But also we have really cool technology, just new technology that is emerging. AI is a big topic this year. And of course, we're all about together.
Do you have the novice room? the first time old man coming into this and wanting to learn and not look like a fool?
We definitely have the novice room. And I will tell you, when you go in there and, let's say maybe you're looking to research Irish ancestry or maybe you have Asian ancestry that you're looking into, the people that are there, they're so friendly, they're so helpful, and they're so eager to just sit you down and help you find whatever you're looking for. If you're just getting started, you can start there, or for those that are experts and that have those roadblocks that they've been looking to kind of uncover for so many years, there's people that are just eager and willing and ready to help you overcome those things.
So, Sean, you mentioned that there's a map to Expo Hall, and I wanted to ask if there are other helps, because I've been in past years and I have found it a little overwhelming, to be honest. There's so much to look at, and you said that this year there's even more. What are your best tips for how people who want to maybe wander the Expo Hall, how can they find good things to wander to?
That's a really great question. So when you just enter the Expo Hall, you're going to be surrounded by all of our major sponsors, and that's really a good place to start. So we're going to have Ancestry there, MyHeritage, Storied, Family Tree DNA, Lifeweaver is one of our new sponsors this year. And so starting at those booths is a really great way to get started, just kind of see what they have. Like I said, we do have paper maps, and so you can get a paper map at any of our in-person service desks that we have throughout the Salt Palace. And it'll have on the back of the map the Expo Hall layout, and all of the exhibitors and sponsors will be in alphabetical order, so you can just kind of look through them, see what interests you, and then it'll look at where it is on the map, and it'll take you there. Another tip, here's a pro tip. If you really need help to find something, look for one of our helpers that are roaming around the conference center. They'll all have shirts on that look like jerseys. Find one of them, tell them what you're looking for, and they will direct you. They'll even take you typically where you need to go.
Sean, I know you have a story you want to share with our audience, and I'm wondering if you would like to do that right now.
I would love to, Holly. So recently I was talking with Jen Baldwin with Find My Past. And she shared with me something that happened her first year working in the Expo Hall. And I believe this was over 14 years ago. So she said that the Expo Hall had just closed. Okay, it was the last Saturday of the conference. But there was an attendee at their booth that had been there for a good 2 hours that was desperately trying to find evidence of her Irish family to give to her elderly mother who was ill. So as the Expo Hall was closing and being torn down around them, they actually found the evidence that they were looking for that tied her family to Irish Catholic roots, which then led to additional sources and discoveries. And Jen told me that when they had made this discovery, they were just all standing there in tears, handing each other's tissues. And Jen said the woman they were helping mentioned that she came to Roots Tech just on a whim. And these are the kinds of discoveries and moments that happen at Roots Tech and in the Expo Hall. This event brings people together in unique ways, in ways that attendees and sponsors and exhibitors will remember for the rest of their lives. Jen even told me that going into her 14th year at Roots Tech, she still thinks about this moment and how important it was to her. So that's the power of this event and the power of this event in general. I love it.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. That was Sean Canny, the outreach manager for Roots Tech, joining us today.
I have to go. I have
yes,
to.
You do.
What's exciting for me is that I've always thought of doing family history as going to some facility where you use their equipment and their microfiche or whatever.
Right. We don't even do that anymore.
But now you can go and learn, and you can do it from home. That's what I'm looking forward to.
I have one idea for you on family reunions, and this is somebody in my neighborhood who does this. She actually makes little cards. They're like maybe playing card size, and they have the faces of family members and names on them, and they can go through and they can play games so that kids, cousins, second cousins can start to realize not only people who are dead and gone, who are their ancestors, but also their cousins. And I think that's a really smart idea, actually. Okay, so speaking of old people, I'm right up there with you, and we know America's aging, and so who's caring for those people who are getting older? In many cases, it's family members. So we're going to be talking with Lois Collins from the Deseret News about some new research from Pew, the Pew Foundation, when we come back after this break.
If you're ready to buy a home or sell a home, and you're worried about the current real estate market because of what you've heard from some of your friends or family, well, we're here to tell you that you really shouldn't be worried, because now is a great time to buy and sell with our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
And here's why. Buyers have more options due to increased inventory, which gives them the power to negotiate for repairs, interest rate buy-downs, and closing cost assistance. While at the same time, sellers are still getting top dollar for their homes, with home values that are higher today than ever before. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, the current real estate market presents a win-win opportunity for both buyers and sellers.
But you still do want to make sure that you're working with a team of real estate experts you can trust that can get you some great results. And that's our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
They have helped thousands of Salt Lake City homeowners, and they're ready to help you. To get started, just go to thesternteam.com. That's thesternteam.com, or Google The Stern Team.
Respiratory virus season is quickly approaching, meaning we'll see more flu, COVID, and RSV in our community. The good news is vaccines are available that will help prevent these infections and keep people healthy. For flu and COVID, everyone aged 6 months and older are recommended to be vaccinated to help protect ourselves and our families against serious illness. Fall remains the best time to be vaccinated. Respiratory viruses circulate year-round, but peak late fall through winter. Your doctor can recommend which vaccines are best for you and your family.
Brought to you by Intermountain Health and KSL News Radio.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Join the movie show this Friday at the Mountain America Expo Center for the Home Show. Tune in for a special movie show listener offer from Advanced Window Products and save on new windows.
Ready for your next vehicle? At Performance Automotive in Bountiful, your new Ford, Toyota, or Honda is here. Built for Utah communities, Canyon weekends, and everything in between. Choose capability with Ford, long-lasting reliability with Toyota, or smooth efficiency with Honda. Backed by friendly experts and financing options that fit your budget. Visit Performance Ford, Performance Toyota, and Performance Honda for your test drive. Browse inventory, check pricing, and schedule your visit at performancebountiful.com. Performance Automotive in Bountiful, driven to be the best.
Hello, this is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. Take the first step. Visit CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, do it now. Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Hi, Grandma. What's for dinner?
Hey, honey, I'm making stew tonight.
Ooh, can Nina come over?
I'm not sure about our new friend. I wonder if there's been any drinking going on. Alcohol at her age can lead to so many bad things. I've been meaning to ask you, what would happen if someone offered you a drink?
Grandma?
This is hard. She's so young, but I know I need to talk to her about it now before someone tries to give her alcohol. If anyone ever does offer you a drink, I want you to say no. I have too much respect for my family, and I don't want to get in trouble.
Okay.
Really?
I promise, Grandma. I love you too.
Okay, how about tasting this stew and telling me what you think?
Some children may try alcohol as young as 9 years old. It's not too early to talk about drinking. For tips on how to begin the conversation, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. That's underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. This message brought to you by SAMHSA and this station.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
My wife and I have both lost our parents in the last couple of years, and one thing that happened and continues to happen, she still has a mother-in-law alive, is that my parents lived in their house, and they'd lived there forever, and they were almost 90, and they got to the point where they shouldn't be living in their house anymore. They just shouldn't. And we as kids were doing everything we could to get them into some other facility, even like come live with me for a while.
Yeah.
But they were having none of it, and it got to the point that they couldn't even maintain their house very well, and it really got to be a problem.
So we're in the same situation, although my parents are in a different state. They're both in their 80s, and they're living in a home, and my brother's trying to get them to come to Utah and maybe do assisted living. And the struggle that they have is that they can't get rid of their stuff. So that's a different conversation. But they also, they're not actually as independent as they used to be. They shouldn't be trying to care for themselves. My mom falls a lot. She's in the hospital a lot for her falls. And one of the things I think that it just kind of begs the question, who is taking care of these older parents, especially as they age? And in many cases, it's family members. So Lois Collins from the Deseret News. Thanks for writing about that.
Most of the time it's family members, as a matter of fact. They estimate that it's probably $600 billion in unpaid care that's provided by family members. And there's a big income gap. People who are fairly wealthy tend to be more prone to go into assisted living or have other choices. Low-income or middle-income families have a harder time doing that.
It's really pricey.
Like staying with family may be a better alternative for some aging adults than going into an assisted living. Maybe not. I mean, I guess I just look at my own situation. My parents would have been more willing to come live with us than to go into where we ultimately ended up putting them.
It's a tricky question. There are a bunch of things that go into that. I mean, are you in a house that would accommodate them? You know, some houses have like a place where they could have some privacy. Some houses don't. I live in a multi-level, and when my mom developed Alzheimer's, the multi-level was not going to work at all, and so it was a crisis
because of stairs.
That was based on how the house was built,
Yeah.
actually. So you don't think about that when you're 30 years old and you're getting a house. You don't go, what am I going to do with mom in 30 years? And it's a real issue. But a lot of people are caregivers. They estimate that about 10% of adults are caregivers in some way, and it's a range. It could be helping with groceries, doing some driving, maybe taking care of finances, or it could be all the way to hands-on care, diapering, showering, that kind of thing. If your parent is over 65 or your spouse is over 65, then the number goes up to 25%. A quarter of people are doing that. And the degree of care you provide goes up considerably after someone hits 75.
So even 65, that surprises me because I'm not too far from that, and Greg's a little bit past that.
We're
well past it, right?
You're not well
Greg and
past
I
it,
are
but
here.
but it's like, well, that's interesting that people need additional support at that age, I guess.
It depends. Like I said, there are different kinds of support. Maybe your vision's not as good as it was and you can't drive. I have a brother who has trouble driving because he has problems with his eyes. Maybe you're not quite as good with math as you used to be, or you can't mow your lawn anymore. You can't do home repairs anymore. There's a whole range that falls into this category, and it just gets more and more and more as you get older.
And our population in this country is getting older and older as healthcare gets
Absolutely.
better, and we're not having as many children. And so people in our generation, let's face it, Lois, are going to have to be looking to something in the decade to come in terms of where we're going to live or how we're going to live. And like you said, maybe get a house that doesn't have as many stairs or doesn't have other things that are going to make it difficult.
The other thing is people say they want to live in the community, but I did one of the most impactful stories for me that I've ever done in my life was one a few years ago with people who say they want to stay in the community and they end up really lonely and they end up not being able to get out and do things, and their friends don't come in the way they want, and they would be better off if they could afford to be in some sort of a community that was more age friendly.
What was the impact on caregivers for the people who need the care.
That was, I think, one of the most surprising things to me, and also to the researcher that I talked to. Relationships improved if you're caring for your parent. Your personal relationship improved, male or female.
With your parent?
With your parent. If
Oh,
you're
wow.
caring for your parent,
Yeah.
the relationship improved. But your emotional health and your physical health was seen as not as good if you were female. And for males, it kind of tilted a little bit positive. It was much more neutral.
Because of the wear and tear of being a
No,
caregiver?
they couldn't say why in the survey. What they found, they were kind of surprised by it. There's the speculation that maybe women are doing more of the care, but really the survey didn't show that. There wasn't a huge gap. Women are doing a little bit more, but they're not doing a ton more, and they're not doing more real personal care. So they don't quite know why that is. It's probably something more to do with male and female psyche.
Huh. Interesting. So one of the things too, where do we sit in Utah as far as caregiving for our older adults in the state?
We have a growing number of older adults, and I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, and I definitely don't carry them around in my head, but we have more people. We have a younger population in general, but we do have a growing number of older people, more baby boomers than, the generation's
Sure.
getting older. And by the end of this decade, all baby boomers will officially be senior citizens, which is interesting. And nationally, that's like a huge cohort. That's 73 million people.
Mm-hmm.
So Utah's impacted too. And there are other reasons that you may have to provide care too. It's not just age. So
Can you talk to us about how income and finances affect this as well? I mean, if you're trying to be a caregiver for your parents, but you're living in a 2-bedroom apartment, you know what I mean? That's going to make your life a lot more difficult. But if you're in a home, like you say, where you've got sort of a lot going on one level, maybe you can provide a little better support for them.
So money plays a role, and one of the things that this particular study found is that there's a real hunger for some policy support for families, and it crosses partisan lines, which is a little bit surprising actually. But Republicans and Democrats both agree that these families need help. So the most popular suggestion was tax credit, which would help financially a bit. Second most popular was some respite care, so that you could go away for a week on vacation and somebody would make sure that mom was safe or dad was safe. Third one is paid family leave should be required, and the fourth one was direct payments.
Is there any appetite on the part of politicians?
Not that I've heard of. That doesn't mean there isn't. That doesn't mean it won't show up. But historically, no. I mean, how many years has there been a real push for mandatory paid family leave that has happened in little pockets here and there, but not nationally? And respite care, nah, we haven't seen a lot.
I like the idea of the tax credits. It made me think of, we get child tax credits to help families as they're raising their children, but there's a financial cost to caregiving as well.
There's
and it makes sense to me.
Yeah, there's a significant financial cost. It can be very expensive, especially if you have to do modifications or if you have special diets or you spend a lot of time taking people to medical appointments. There are all sorts of costs and no real assistance.
It seems like you mentioned something really interesting, Lois. We talked about child care at the beginning of the legislative session and how we're going to increase that, but we don't think about elderly care. And it's not, I don't know, it doesn't seem to be a priority, but it's going to be because we may have more elderly people to care for than children in the near future.
Well, and there are some adult daycare spots. You can, I could drop a parent off on my way to work if I could afford to do that.
Right.
But those are few and far between too. So there really isn't a ton of support for helping frail, aging elderly.
All right. Thanks for joining us
Good
today.
article. Thanks, Lois. Thanks for joining us this morning, again, as usual. When we come back, we're going to have more special coverage on immigration in Utah. We're learning more about the presence of federal immigration agents' presence increasing at courthouses in Salt Lake County. I've heard ICE agents are in the Salt Lake County courthouses, and I haven't seen them myself, but I've heard people tell me about it, and it's really causing some consternation. We'll learn more about that when we come back after this.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott. KSL's top story this hour. President Trump meeting with the German Chancellor in the Oval Office was asked again about why the U.S. attacked Iran, specifically about the timing of the attack.
He says that Iran was going to strike first, saying, quote, it was my opinion that they were going to attack first, which also raises question about whether it was his opinion or whether he actually had evidence of that. So we continue to see this mixed messaging from the White House about why the U.S. decided to launch this campaign now.
ABC's White House correspondent Mary Bruce there. Your money at this moment, the market tanked this morning over concerns that the conflict in the Middle East could escalate. The Dow is currently down 623 points. The S&P is down 93. Utah's legislature is once again talking about the state's homeless population, and they've set aside a big chunk of change for some of the governor's projects. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
In a tight budget year, the legislature has approved a total of $43.6 million to target homelessness in the state. Deseret News reports Governor Cox saying he'd like the state to be the worst place to be on the street and the best place to get help. Departing from other years, a one-time budget of $26.4 million used for emergency housing and shelter will be dependent on local governments matching the state's contribution.
The other $17 million will be ongoing funding used for the governor's strategy of addressing the chronically homeless, providing mental health resources, and emergency housing. And coming up, temperatures get warmer before the storm. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time 11:01.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. I've recently seen two just delightful plays at Hale Center Theater. One is called Peter Pan Goes Wrong. When a local drama company stages Peter Pan, the stalwart thespians and crew face about any disaster or mishap that you can imagine, and their distress and their consternation fuels our delight and laughter. This is so much fun, and I challenge you not to laugh. And plus, my favorite radio station even gets a nod in this ill-fated production. And then, on the brand new Beehive stage, two local playwrights, Fox and Dietline, have a brand new musical, Hallmarked. It includes tidbits of every Hallmark movie plot you have ever seen. A young woman heads to Vermont to save a floundering reality cooking show, but she's determined not to be Hallmarked. You're going to love the play. You're going to love the music. Get your tickets at hct.org. Don't forget, Hunchback of Notre Dame coming up on March 9th.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. Did you know that we offer 3 distinct styles of gutter protection? Each one meant to handle a specific leaf problem. You might not even know there are different styles of gutter protection, but there are. And if you pick the wrong one, it could be a huge waste of money. Now, the big gutter guard companies won't tell you this. They try to sell you a one-size-fits-all gutter guard. And it could be completely wrong for the amount and types of trees and leaves you have. Not RGS Exteriors. We understand which kind of leaf problem needs which kind of gutter guard. We'll do an in-depth evaluation to assess the types, locations, and numbers of trees in your yard. Based on that data, we match your home to the right gutter guard. So don't risk wasting money on the wrong gutter protection. For a free evaluation and estimate, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit rgsexteriors.com. That's 801-280-3110 or rgsexteriors.com.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Here's Michelle Rowe.
A couple of disabled vehicles. One is northbound I-15 at 650 North in Clearfield. The other is northbound on Bangerter Highway, about 2400 south off to the right. And then we have a crash. This is I-215's westbound northbound, just north of the I-80 interchange on the right shoulder. No matter the weather, your feet can feel fantastic. Find Good Feet location nearest you at goodfeet.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Mostly cloudy today, mostly sunny tomorrow with highs in the 60s. Then on Thursday, things cool down as a storm moves through. We're expecting snow to fall in the valley. Right now, it is 43 and mostly cloudy. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com for Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
We're learning more about the presence of federal immigration agents' presence increasing at courthouses in Salt Lake County, and this follows we've been talking about this for probably a year now, but early on we talked about the local county sheriffs and law enforcement having involvement with ICE and other agents and allowing them access to jail records or jail people and people getting information about those who are being stopped. But they haven't actually entered into the courthouses until recently. But starting at it seems like February, Holly, more and more ICE agents are present in the federal courthouse. I keep saying federal courthouses because they can grab people as they're exiting the court.
I find that disturbing. We have with us, though, Tim Vandenack from KSL.com, who did a pretty good story on this. Thanks for joining us, Tim.
Yep, good morning.
What kind of information can you give us about this increase in ICE presence?
Well, I had kind of heard about some of this happening just very sporadically last year after Trump took office, but yeah, lately this month, it sounds like it's started to increase. Not necessarily it's ICE agents, an every day, every hour sort of thing, but it sounds like it's, according to the lawyers and other people involved in this I spoke to, it's just kind of increased. Not sure why now, but, I guess it's just another facet of the crackdown on illegal immigration by the administration.
I could sort of hazard a guess as to why, and that's because, Tim, courthouses are open to the public, and unlike jails where you can't necessarily go in, it just seems like it's an easier avenue for agents to get in. But it's got to be disconcerting for the people that are in the courthouses. You interviewed some lawyers and others that were there. I mean, it's not something. I've been practicing law for 44 years. It's not something I'm used to seeing, and I suppose others have shared that same concern with you.
Yes. From ICE perspective, they're secure facilities. You have a lot of people there, so you don't have to, go knocking on doors, chasing people in cars. So from that perspective, understandable why it might be advantageous to ICE agents. From the public's perspective, it can be a little bit disconcerting. It sounds like there have been some pretty loud sorts of incidents, public incidents that can kind of throw the public in kind of, just make people uncomfortable. Supposedly they're supposed to do these more discreetly, kind of in courtrooms or empty rooms, but that's apparently, not always happening. So, it can be kind of disruptive to those in the courthouse.
Tim, you mentioned in your story that Salt Lake County Sheriff Rosie Rivera had some things to say about it. Can you share with our listeners what she was bringing up to a county council meeting?
Right. So the bailiffs, the security at all the courthouses in Salt Lake County is provided through the Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office. So, it sounds like sometimes even the bailiffs aren't aware the ICE agents are there handling activity. So they're also kind of taken by surprise sometimes when all of a sudden a plainclothes person is detaining somebody. So she brought that up to the county officials to let them know that, hey, this is this is a concern for us. Apparently there was one incident in particular at the Matheson courthouse that got pretty heated between ICE agent and some of the sheriff's responders. So she brought that up, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure if she's reached out to ICE to try to smooth the situation or try to reach any sort of understanding. But yeah.
I wonder if I could just ask a follow-up question. You may not know the answer to this, but we have seen so many images of ICE agents, wearing masks, and they have the big vests. And why are they now showing up as in plain clothes? That seems confusing.
Yeah, good question. People don't know. I suppose if they had masks and all the ICE uniforms, people would just kind of, either berate him or run away from him, I suppose, depending on your view on this thing. So, I mean, the photos and videos I've seen, they're just kind of plain clothes, a lot of plaid. Don't know why a lot of them are wearing plaid shirts. Just more discreet. They can kind of blend in a little bit more easily and find their targets.
You're right about something else, Tim, and that is that the county courtrooms, the Matheson Courthouse and the one in West Jordan, and even some of the smaller justice courts are usually staffed and have security provided by the Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office. And do we know whether these agents are identifying themselves, at least to the bailiffs and the law enforcement, as they walk in? So that, because I'm thinking if I'm a bailiff and I'm keeping the peace there and I see somebody in plain clothes handcuffing an individual coming out of a courtroom, that's got to be a problem. What kind of interaction do we know, if any, between the federal and the county law enforcement officers as they enter these courthouses?
Well, based on what I've heard from some of the attorneys, there isn't that communication. They aren't identifying themselves, and I think that's one of the points of concern. Another group, the Salt Lake City Bail Fund, they worry the opposite. They believe that the two sides are corroborating and working together, and that's upsetting to them. But some of the attorneys say there doesn't appear to be that communication. And, again, maybe it's just so they can more easily do that. The ICE agents can do what they need to do without interference from others. So,
were you able to reach out to ICE at all and get any comment from them as to what they're doing and why?
Well, they're very, I did reach out to them. It's sometimes hit and miss getting a response from them. Sometimes they'll send you a response and it's just kind of a canned response. They don't necessarily answer your question. So, no, I haven't heard from ICE about kind of their comment on what's happening here and that sort of thing.
I wonder, and this could be a question for you, Greg, or Tim, what kind of chilling effect does this potentially have on people who are trying to show up to court? Are they going to just not go?
Yeah, that's a problem. I was thinking that, too, if you don't mind me jumping in, Tim. If you don't show up in court, you get a warrant. If you do show up in court, you get arrested by ICE. I think given those options, some people would prefer to have a warrant. I mean, I'm certainly not giving legal advice, but
right.
I mean, if you know you're going to get hooked up if you walk into a courthouse,
it's terrifying. I mean, you include at the end of your story, Tim, something about a woman holding a baby, screaming and
right.
crying because they had shown up to court and ICE took her husband.
Right.
I just,
yeah.
It feels
so
to me like it's just mean.
And apart from those facing charges maybe being reticent about going to court, one of the attorneys made the point that witnesses and victims. Likewise, if a word starts getting out that ICE agents are in the hallways of the courthouses, they also may be a little bit more skittish about, cooperating with police and that sort of thing.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much for joining us. That was Tim Vandenack with KSL.com. And we're going to continue talking about immigration, and I hear this a lot. I support it if they do it the right way. But what does the right way actually mean? So we're going to talk with an immigration attorney who's going to break down the real process and what families are facing here in Utah. Next.
I like that shirt. Is that a new shirt?
It is. It's from Ann Collar, and it's really rare to find a shirt that looks good and is super comfortable. And this is a fabric unlike anything I've ever felt.
I got one for my husband and my sons, and watching my 19-year-old put on the Ann Collar shirt and sort of check himself out in the mirror, I thought, wow, he's really digging that. And I can understand why, because it's not just comfortable, it's stain repellent, which I needed.
Oh, my goodness.
Because,
Something.
He attracts spaghetti sauce to shirts like you would not believe. And with these Ann Collar shirts, I can get it out.
Amanda, I have to wear a special bib when I eat spaghetti with a white shirt on. But with Ann Collar shirts, it takes those little tiny nicks and stains, and they don't stick to you. Yeah, you don't have to dump a bucket of stuff on you, but it would repel that too.
You've got to try one. So whether it's the traditional white shirt or any of the patterns they have, it's Ann Collar, and they're made right here in Utah.
If you've never tried Ann Collar before, we have got permission to give you 15% off at andcollar.com and go get your first. Use the code KSL15.
That's Ann Collar, ANDcollar.com.
Hi, I'm Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. When the IRS invades your life, it's never good news. Keep in mind, it's not just you.
I owed roughly $34,000.
$61,000. When the IRS first contacted me, I was horrified.
When they start hounding you and harassing you and assaulting you.
Don't face the IRS alone. With everything in your life at stake, don't trust just anyone.
From what I got told was being done in a matter of 2 years, he had done in a matter of like 48 hours.
It's a great thing to have the IRS off your back.
We have reduced our tax liability by over $42,000.
Once I signed on with Jordan, I never talked to the IRS again.
It changed our lives.
You need someone to fight for you. Visit endtaxworry.com and get relief today. Let's solve your tax problems now. Visit endtaxworry.com. That's endtaxworry.com.
An emergency can happen any second. Here's a few seconds to think about where you'd go. When you need medical care fast, the closest emergency room is a smart thing to know. Common Spirit Health ERs are your direct path between feeling scared or uncomfortable and feeling better. Find emergency care in your neighborhood at mountain.commonspirit.org.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Love, laughter, and a little magic. This March, Utah Opera invites you to the Elixir of Love, Donizetti's sparkling romantic comedy that's fun, flirty, and easy to fall for. A mysterious potion helps love to bloom in this sunny story set among the California orange groves, March 7th to 15th at the Janet Quinney Lawson Capitol Theater. Tickets start at just $26, and you may qualify for a discount. Pick your seats now at utahopera.org.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin, UVB rays burn, and both cause cancer. But the perfect sunscreen doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
The new Inside Sources.
So the immigration process we've talked about, and we want to talk about what doing it right looks like, because a lot of times we talk about people who are here illegally and people are trying to get citizenship, but what happens if somebody's actually doing things correctly?
Well, and what that looks like, and I hear it a lot. I support people who come here as long as they do it right. So we have an expert to talk to. It's Carlos Trujillo. He's a Utah immigration attorney. And there are actually multiple components, Carlos. I know that. So we have refugee status. We have there's temporary protected status. We have the regular immigration status and getting green cards moving potentially towards citizenship. Can you just help us understand, maybe from a high level, what does doing it right look like?
Yeah, I think that when we talk about that concept, there is such a misconception of that concept, okay? Because you got to think about, let's talk about family petitions, because even the president of the United States went through a family petition with his wife. And, well, wait a second, but these family petitions, where do you meet your wife? Most of the times you're going to meet your wife or your spouse here in the United States. Well, since 1997, there is a law so that you can do a family petition. So if you're talking about the right way, that is the right way, because there's a law provided. There is a way to follow to be able to become a permanent resident and a U.S. citizen through that process. So people get caught up on this, do it the right way, and they don't understand that there is a law to do all these things. And to take you to another side or another type of cases, you have the asylum process. And we understand as attorneys, and me personally as an immigrant, that things at the border got out of control a couple years ago under the prior administration. But at the same time, people don't understand that a lot of what was happening in the border were people trying to get to the border and then turn themselves in so that they can follow the process that the law provides for asylum petitions. So again, it is a misconstrued idea of doing it the right way, because at the end of the day, if there is a law that provides the things that you should do to become legal in this country and you follow it, that is doing it the right way. Whether you turn yourself in at the border, whether you came as a tourist and then you met your eternal spouse, whether you came as a student and then you got a job and then you got the green card, all of those are the right ways. And like I said, people just think that, oh, wait a second, the person just needs to be in their home country and apply for something that magically will open a golden door into the United States. No, that's not reality.
We keep hearing and seeing people who, while they're in the throes of being arrested or detained, are saying, "I did it the right way. I've applied. I've done what I need to do." What kind of resources are available for people who are doing it the right way, but then get detained and have to deal with the process? Some of them dealing with it from being taken to another state.
It is one of the hardest things that we're dealing with as attorneys right now, and one of the things that are hitting our community the worst at this moment. Because I'm going to give you 3 quick examples of different type of cases. We have had, and I'm going to talk about, personal cases. This is not things that we read on the news. But you have a person who properly and without a criminal record asked for asylum. That person is just waiting for that process to go through. Gets detained, gets sent to removal proceeding, which is deportation proceedings. And then in deportation proceedings, they get hit with a new technique that they're using in the government, which is called pre-termination, where there is an agreement with Ecuador, and you don't have to listen to the asylum case of this person. All that you got to do is issue a deportation order, tell them to go to Ecuador and look for protection in Ecuador. how is that humanely possible? How is it that a person that did everything correctly just get a deportation order to a third country that they never been before, that they didn't choose for protection, and that's the end of the road for them? Then you have people, this just came out with a decision from the Board of Immigration Appeals. There are people that suffer crimes here. They're protected under what is called the U visas. Well, the U visas do take a long time because everything in immigration takes a long time. But if you are if you're in deportation proceedings, there was an understanding that we're not going to proceed to deport a person who was a victim of a heinous crime. Well, the Board of Immigration Appeals just last Friday decided, no, you know what? If that U visa is not coming in a reasonable time, we cannot hold on. We need to proceed with deportation. It makes no sense.
Right.
So that is the frustration because you are doing it the right way. You are following the law. You are applying. You're just waiting for the system to do their job. And now because the system is not efficient or proper, you're going to pay the consequences.
So do you think that the immigration system is broken? And if so, what needs to be done to fix it?
No, most definitely. One of the examples that I give to people to kind of illustrate this, okay? You are dealing with a big, huge issue in the year 2026. We all understand it's a big issue. And the tools that you're dealing with this issue is a law from 1997. It makes no sense. You know, you cannot reasonably expect to be dealing with this issue with such an outdated law. So Congress needs to act. Congress needs to pass new laws. There are things that need to be addressed, and in both sides, okay? I have been an immigrant in this country for 26 years. I've been an attorney for 11 years, and I understand that there has been things that the immigrant community have taken advantage of, and they need to be fixed. There are some loopholes that need to be fixed. But at the same time, there's too many people that have given themselves to help the economy, to raise a family, to actually, you know, do everything that they can to be the best to their communities, and they still live in fear. They wake up and they get out of their houses and they do not know if they're going to be back in the afternoon. And to think that here in our Utah community, we have families suffering that is heartbreaking.
You mentioned before we started speaking, Carlos, that there were several immigration judges that were terminated. We don't have as many as we did once before in Utah. I think we're up to 5 at one point. We're down to 2 now.
Yes, that is correct. And it's one of those things that makes no sense about what this administration is trying to accomplish, okay? Look, we have problems, they say, about vetting. They have problems that people are taking advantage of a work permit just because the process is taking too long. But then what head does it fit that to deal with this, you're going to go from 5 judges to 2 judges? Right now, hearings are being scheduled to 2030, 2031 for some of these people. It makes no sense. And now the problem is that, okay, if we humanely understand that they have to wait that long doing the right thing the right way and that they're going to be okay, but the problem is that now you're asking them to wait, and every day they don't know if they're going to get picked up. They don't know if they're going to be held in a detention center that is going to test their perseverance to stay in this country. So it is sad. It shouldn't be that way. We not only should have the 5 judges that we used to have. In Utah, we should have 7 judges. In Utah, we should have 10 judges. You know, that's where the resource should be put in place. We need more USCIS officers as well. That's what the system should be invested on so that we can address this issue more properly.
Do you find that working with the government, in what I would call in my world the prosecutors, is going well? Are they sympathetic to you and understanding what's going on right now? Or are they too much tied up in what they're calling or what they believe their job is?
With all due respect to those colleagues, I love them. I know that they have a work to do, but the way that this administration has gone about it is you either get on board the way we're doing things or you're out. And that's exactly what we have seen with a lot of these judges that were dismissed. So I appreciate, and I have always have a great relationship with each one of these officers and prosecutors. But right now they're in a tough position where they need to not ask too many questions. They need to do and follow as they're being told, because otherwise their jobs will be in jeopardy.
So, Carlos, will you stay with us over the break? We have more questions for you. Okay, we're going to be back and continue our conversation with Carlos Trujillo.
11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott, KSL's top story this hour. And it is breaking news. Police say a woman reported missing out of Saratoga Springs has been found dead. 43-year-old Jerusalem Vitola was found in an RV that belonged to Alvaro Rojas, who was reported missing by family at the same time Vitola was. Police say Rojas is a suspect in her murder and has left the state for California. And our top national story this hour from ABC News. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem faced GOP critics at a Senate hearing today.
Several Republican senators, including Lindsey Graham, indicated their backing of the secretary and her department.
This country was overrun by illegal immigrants.
But Louisiana's John Kennedy called out Kristi Noem for spending $220 million on TV ads featuring her.
To me, it puts the president in a terribly awkward spot.
And pointing to FEMA's response to hurricanes and American citizens being detained by ICE, North Carolina Republican Tom Tillis said he's been repeatedly disappointed by the secretary.
Under your leadership, Ms. Noem, a disaster.
Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
And coming up, snow in the valley this week. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:31.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
If you're ready to buy a home or sell a home and you're worried about the current real estate market because of what you've heard from some of your friends or family, well, we're here to tell you that you really shouldn't be worried, because now is a great time to buy and sell with our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
And here's why. Buyers have more options due to increased inventory, which gives them the power to negotiate for repairs, interest rate buy downs, and closing cost assistance. While at the same time, sellers are still getting top dollar for their homes, with home values that are higher today than ever before. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, the current real estate market presents a win-win opportunity for both buyers and sellers.
But you still do want to make sure that you're working with a team of real estate experts you can trust that can get you some great results. And that's our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
They have helped thousands of Salt Lake City homeowners, and they're ready to help you. To get started, just go to thesternteam.com. That's thesternteam.com, or Google The Stern Team.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jeff's day is off to a slow start. So he heads to AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination, where Sammy, a local AutoZoner, tests his battery for free. Looks like he just needs a charge, and Sammy does that for free too. In no time at all, Jeff is back on the road, ready to finish the day strong. Free battery testing and charging at every store. No hassles, just help.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
We'll admit, we've already thrown in the towel on the New Year's resolution.
Yeah, and we made it through dry January. But one healthy new habit we're sticking with is Active Liver from New Nordic. Did you know your liver works around the clock processing food, sugar, alcohol, and everyday toxins? All things that can really impact your health.
That's why daily support matters. Active Liver is designed to help protect normal liver function and support your body's natural detox process.
With trusted ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and artichoke extract, it's gentle enough to take all year long.
No harsh cleanses, no extreme detoxes, just simple daily liver support. We really feel the difference.
Yup, more energy and the peace of mind knowing we can enjoy the good things in life while giving our liver the love it needs.
Active Liver is available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Or you can find it in stores at CVS, Meijer Grocery, Wegmans, and now Active Liver is available at your local GNC.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by UCCU, up to $500 for loan transfers. Love where you bank. Here's Michelle Rowe.
Freeways running smoothly. I-15 in good shape, as well as the Belt Route. Also looking good at Parley's Canyon. Still working on this disabled vehicle, though. This is northbound Bangerter Highway at 2400 South. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Highs reach 60 degrees tomorrow before a storm moves in on Thursday. We're expecting rain and snow in the valley, continuing into Friday. Right now it is 45 and mostly cloudy. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com for Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
We are continuing our conversation with Carlos Trujillo, Utah immigration attorney. Carlos, just tell our listeners a little bit about your history. You said you've been a lawyer for 11 years here in Utah. What brought you to Utah and what got you into the law?
Well, all started about year 2000. Originally from Venezuela, born and raised there. Finished my high school there, and things were starting to get very bad in Venezuela with Hugo Chavez being elected a couple years before that. And my family just showed up one day and said, look, things are not looking good. So here we put together the money that we had, and we got you a plane ticket. You have an aunt in Utah, and she's going to welcome you, and you're just going to go do your life there. And after that, worked, served an LDS mission, and then I ended up starting my studies in LDS Business College. Went to the University of Utah through many other challenges, ended up in Thomas M. Cooley Law School. And at the end of that, I did not want to practice immigration. That was not the goal. But there was a need in the community. I saw my my people just hurt because of what was happening in regards to lack of representation and things like that, and decided to open a law firm to address those issues. So it's been quite a journey of 26 years.
So I am going to make an assumption here that you are busier than ever.
Yes, and not in the way that we want it to be. This is very frustrating for me and for my colleagues, immigration attorneys. You know, we love the law, okay, and our work is to make sure that these people receive the proper due process. You know, we're not asking to do anything that is not already on the books, and every day something seems to be taken away from that. We just talked about in the segment before about how now we're going to treat the U visa people. There are changes on the refugee people as well. They have arrived to this country properly and through a process. But many people don't know that there is now a freeze for 12 countries, even inside of the United States, where people cannot even receive immigration benefits. And there's another freeze for 35 countries that outside of the United States cannot even receive any other immigration adjudication as well. So every day is a battle in immigration law right now.
Carlos, a lot of polls show right now that most Americans think we've maybe gone a step too far, or maybe a couple steps too far in terms of how we treat people who are in our country on immigrating to the United States. But talk to us about your experience as an attorney for 11 years. Were we too far the other way? Were the doors too open and we allowed too many people? And I know that's a terrible way to phrase it, but it seems like the pendulum was a bit the other way several years ago.
Yeah, that is the saddest state of immigration and many things of our political system in the United States right now. It seems that we have forgotten about that middle ground. It seems that we keep going from an extreme side to another extreme side. We understand as immigrants, me being part of that community, that definitely what happened at the border was unacceptable. We understand that many people who deserve asylum from countries like Venezuela, Cuba, Nicaragua, and many other Middle Eastern countries are being affected by people that are taking advantage of the asylum system. So we are cognizant of there has been issues in both sides, but the biggest problem is that when you start attacking legal migration, that is the issue that we're confronting right now that we shouldn't. Look, we appreciate, or I appreciate also being a U.S. citizen now, that the border is under control. I really do appreciate that. That was something that was necessary. But I don't appreciate the fact that there's many people just like me who are married to a U.S. citizen. They're trying to do the process and they cannot do it, or they have to be afraid of doing it, because that's legal migration. And even at the State of the Union, we heard the words that the president is for legal migration. Well, wait a second, but if you're for legal migration, why are you putting all these obstacles? It makes no sense whatsoever. So we have gone from one extreme to the other, and I just can hope that cooler heads can prevail on this issue, that we can see that we're dealing with humans here. We're dealing with mother, fathers, children, most of them who love this country. And let me be clear about something. We do also acknowledge as an immigrant community that there is a segment that may have criminal records that may not deserve to be in this country. We understand that. On a personal basis, I have always been open about this. I have a brother who was deported from the United States 20 years ago. And he made decisions that did not allow him to be here. And I'm okay with that because some people do deserve to be here and some others don't. And we cannot affect the rest of the community because of the actions of one person.
I'm wondering if you feel like Utah as a state is experiencing some sort of undue burden because of the increasing population of immigrants who might not be here legally, or who are in this process, right, that is taking years to resolve potentially.
I would love to sit down with somebody who can kind of argue that point with me, because I don't see it, okay? The thing that people need to understand to separate what you're hearing out there to what reality is. When you talk about the wave of immigrants, the last wave, okay, that we can talk about the last 10 years, okay? A lot of those people came through the process of asylum. That was the biggest wave. When you know the numbers are real, that the biggest community that have entered the state of Utah is the Venezuelan community. The Venezuelan community overwhelmingly use the asylum procedures because it protects them from the tyranny of the regime in Venezuela. But here's the thing though, all of these people have work permits. They have valid social security numbers. So all that they've been doing is producing. They've been adding into the community. They've been opening businesses. They've been paying taxes. So no, I don't see what many people talk about, and maybe in other states may be happening, but here in my home state of Utah, I have not seen it. Okay, there has been a lot of good things that have been brought up by immigrants on these last 10 years. We see the housing. You know, if you see the housing boom, okay, a lot of those people are immigrants that now have qualified to buy their houses. So that is just one piece of information. You can look at the taxes they've been paying for the last 10 years, federally and locally. No, there hasn't been a burden on the system here in the state of Utah in particular.
Can you tell our listeners how people who are fleeing another country for whatever reason are allowed into this country? By what law? How does that work?
So there are two ways when that is happening. There's people that are suffering persecution and they can establish what is called a refugee status from the outside of the United States to come in with that status. Here in the state of Utah, actually, I was able to do an internship with the International Refugee Committee, the IRC, many years ago, and we have we have had a lot of these refugees in our community for many years, and they have been great to our community, to be honest with you. Now, there are people that when they are already inside the United States, it's not called a refugee anymore, it's called an asylum claim.
Okay.
And that is the distinction between the two. But in the core, these are people that were persecuted, they're afraid to return of their country, and they're being persecuted specifically for certain things, for being a part of a particular religion, for having a political opinion, for having a specific nationality, among other things. So this is not a program that it kind of makes it that everybody qualifies. That's when I said that people from Venezuela, Nicaragua, Cuba, and some other Middle Eastern countries that are regimes that oppresses because of those particular protected grounds.
Okay, we're going to ask you to stay for just a little longer. We're almost done with our questions, but thanks for joining us, Carlos. We'll be back right after the break.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Business technology has changed a lot over the last 70 years. But one thing hasn't.
Les Olson is here.
As the years have passed, there's been one constant. And after 70 years and still counting, Les Olson IT is here with the technology and the people to make life easier, more productive, and more secure for your business. Let Les be here for you.
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
The company you work for just froze your pension. Now what? Should you take the lump sum or monthly payments? What happens to your spouse if something happens to you? And how does this impact your Social Security benefits? If you're like most people, you have more questions than answers. But here's the bigger problem right now. If you make a wrong decision here, it could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars in retirement. That's why you need to know all of your options so you can make the right decision for you and your family. Boss Retirement Solutions, right here in Utah, offers a free, comprehensive pension review for individuals with $300,000 or more in retirement savings. Call 801-896-9622 for your free analysis now. That's 801-896-9622. 801-896-9622.
Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products and services offered through Boss Retirement Solutions.
Amanda, I've been taught to begin with the end in mind. And when it comes to something like weight loss, that's really, really important because some weight loss plans have no end. It's like another refill or another bill or another year. But soda weight loss has a finish line.
You learn it once, you use it forever. And I'm all about health. I mean, I don't want to have my body become addicted to another drug that I have to take forever in order to be healthy. I want the opposite of that. I want fewer medications. I want my body to learn how to do this on its own and be strong.
For so many weight loss drugs, you have to just take them forever in order to maintain that feeling when you cross the finish line. Yeah. When I hit 70 pounds that I let go of in 5 months, what an amazing feeling. And it was amazing to know I could just go forward from this point.
You can talk to a nutritionist and ask all your questions at 866-800-SODA.
Or you can go to sotaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Because at SOTA, join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Westminster University recently celebrated 150 years of educating students and preparing them to excel as skilled professionals, civic leaders, passionate educators, and exemplary healthcare providers. Joining us today is President Bethany Dobkin to share more about this milestone and the university's ongoing impact.
Westminster University has enhanced our efforts to increase financial aid, with first-year students paying an average of about $8,400 a year. The Westminster commitment goes further, covering all 4 years of tuition for qualified Utah students. Westminster undergraduates are also more likely to complete their degree in 4 years, faster than anywhere else in the state, a real advantage in time and cost. And we know what students need to thrive during college and beyond. In small classes, clinics, communities, and offices, they develop skills in critical thinking, collaboration, deliberation, and leadership. Partnerships with local businesses and hospitals provide on-the-job learning and research opportunities from day one. By graduation, over 90% of our students are employed within 3 months, and nearly all report their education helped them achieve their professional goals. We're proud of our students and the impact they continue to make in Salt Lake City, Utah, and across the country.
At Westminster University, students graduate ready to make a real difference in their careers, communities, and beyond. From hands-on learning to leadership opportunities, they're prepared for what's next. Learn more about their programs at westminsteru.edu. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Inside Sources.
We want to continue our conversation with Carlos Trujillo, Utah immigration attorney. And Carlos, I want to talk to you about some things that we're hearing that the Americans hear now. We heard from members of the Trump administration that most of the immigrants that are coming into our country are murderers, rapists, released from mental institutions. And then we talk about, well, we're only deporting the criminals, and our own borders are saying, well, just being here is criminal. We don't need anything more than that. What's been your experience with the immigration community as you've been assisting people?
Well, the number one thing that I will share with all the listeners today is that the percentage of the immigrant community that actually has a criminal record, okay, or what we call a serious criminal record, is less than 10%. So there is not that many. That was something that it was built up, and it's just simply not true. And the problem that we're seeing after they try to build that up is that they go into the streets thinking that that's what they're going to find, but they're picking up people that the only crime that they have is a parking ticket. Or they're picking up people here in the state of Utah, clients of mine that has no criminal records whatsoever. So the lie didn't match the reality. That really is what is happening with that in regards to the people being kind of putting all the fear that they're doing, because the goal really is, the more fear we can instill in this community, the more people might just decide, you know what, I don't want to live this way. I will prefer to take my chances elsewhere and self-deport.
I have a question for you that's kind of a follow-up on something that you mentioned earlier. And you were talking about immigration judges who are scheduling court cases 5 and 6 years out. And then you were telling me during the break that that's only one side of the story. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yes, so that is only what is called in the removal proceeding, deportation proceedings. Asylum cases, when you're not in deportation proceedings, are called affirmative asylum, and you go to a USCIS office to be interviewed for this. In the state of Utah, we do not possess an asylum office, so they have to send officers from Houston to here. Right now, there are people that are still waiting for that interview, even when they filed in 2014. They've been waiting for 12 years for this interview, an interview that should have taken place when their case was alive, when things in Venezuela were in the worst time, people that needed protection. And now many of these people are, going through their life a little scared because it's been 12 years. Their case hasn't been adjudicated, and maybe Venezuela is taking a turn for the better, which is still yet to be seen. But then if those cases are no longer viable because Venezuela took that turn, then you're talking about displacing these people that already have, planted roots in our communities in Utah, people that have their kids graduate from high school, attending college. They came here with 10 years old. They're now 22, and there is a lot of concern in especially the Venezuelan community that have been affected by the delays on these interviews.
So again, I think it's important for listeners to understand that these are people who have done everything the right way. And to me, not as an attorney, it feels like people are moving the goalposts now.
Yes. And another clarification for people to know about this affirmative asylum and this wait of 12 years, these are people that are not working illegally. These are people that the system provides them with a work permit, with a valid social security number so they can report their taxes. They're paying their taxes. So yes, they keep doing everything, and that goalpost keeps being moved. And very interesting and kind of together with, but we will not dive into it too much because it's too extensive. It will be too long. But there is a new regulation that just got published on the Federal Register, where actually these people that are waiting for affirmative asylum interview will not be given that work permit anymore. It is now being proposed, 60 days for comments. It will be devastating for the asylum community, for the people that got persecuted, the people that are trying to do it the right way. They're trying to literally choke them on the sense of, well, you might have to wait all these years, but now you're going to have to wait without that valid social security, without that work permit. And in I can't remember the exact page, but it's page 20 of the document. It literally says, we understand that this might cause some consequences to the applicant, but they can rely in friends. They can rely in community services so that they can bridge that gap of waiting and not having a work permit to allow them to work properly and to pay for rent, to do the things the proper way. Again, going back to the tactic of, we are going to find a way that you feel that you cannot stay here and that you will choose to leave.
So, Carlos, let me just ask you this. What's the right balance? I mean, we talk about a lot of people came in, maybe too many at some time. Maybe the gates are a little too strict right now. But tell us what you would think is a balance for what a person should be able to come into this country and be able to do.
I would say, and I will start with this. Being from Venezuela, because of my background as an immigrant and what I saw happen in my country, the rule of law is important. It's very important for a democracy and for the progress of a country. So anyone that breaks the law and do not qualify for something needs to have their deportation process carry on, and whatever needs to happen in that sense. But if there is a process for you to follow, you married a U.S. citizen, a company wants you to work for them, you were victim of a crime, and there is a process for you, you should be protected from deportation. There is no need to attack that. Like I said in the prior segment, there is need for reform. We need a new immigration law. But until that happens, at the very least, can we at least respect those processes that already exist? And let me be clear about something. Most of these processes already have guardrails. They do have guardrails. A person that has DACA, okay, the Dreamers, they cannot have DACA if they have 2 misdemeanors. And some misdemeanors that are considered serious, it's only one of them. So there is a system. So can we actually follow it for the time being until reform comes? I think that's the balance that we need to strike right now, because there is no need for the father of Marines in California to be attacked the way that he was attacked and apprehended. He is now on his process. He's on his way. But why did he need to go through what he went through? Why does the spouse of a U.S. citizen needs to be sitting on a detention center for months when we know that person is going to qualify for a green card? So why couldn't we avoid the inhumane practices that are being applied to the community, to the immigrant community right now is the question. But there is a balance, and it can be applied even with the laws in the books right now.
I have one final question. We only have about a minute. What can Utahns do if they want to support Utah's immigrant community?
Thank you for that question. Please, I think Utah is a beautiful state. I love what this state has done for me and my family and for many immigrants. And most of us understand the inhumane things that are happening right now. Please raise your voice the proper way. Talk to your representative. Talk to your senators. Make your voice heard at the voting booth. We need to defend this country from practices that do not align with their principles of democracy.
Thank you, Carlos. That was Carlos Trujillo, Utah immigration attorney. Thank you very much for joining us today. That was an interesting conversation, and I think one that we really had to have, and something that I hope that a lot of people will hearken to.
Stay with us on KSL News Radio. Next is Midday with Maria Chaleos.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time is 12 o'clock noon, and this is Midday. I'm Maria Chaleos, KSL's top story. We are starting our noon hour with breaking news. Police say a woman reported missing out of Saratoga Springs has been found dead. 43-year-old Husalem Vitola has been missing for over a week. She was found in an RV that belonged to Alvaro Rojas, who was reported missing by family at the same time that Vitola was. Police say Rojas is a suspect in her murder and has left the state for California. The U.S. and Israel continue to exchange airstrikes with Iran as day 4 of this war wages on. Here in Utah, it feels a little more personal. The community supporting Hill Air Force Base say that they know our people are involved. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson is live with details. Heather?
Maria, Clearfield Mayor Mark Shepard